Chapter 635. Earth, Paksun Province, Tongtian District. Calculating the time, it was already 43155 of the new moon era. 40,000 years had passed, and Earth had undergone tremendous changes. Only Tongtian District remained the same. At this moment, Jiang Xi had returned to Earth through the teleportation formation. He appeared in his villa out of thin air and walked to the backyard of the villa. This was the holy land of Earth's lineage. Naturally, there were many powerful cultivators guarding this place. However, when Jiang Xi walked past them, these guards could not see him at all. They could not sense his presence either. Soon Jiang Xi arrived at a garden with the architectural style of the ancient Great Xia. Pavilions, terraces, small bridges, flowing water in the garden. There were many precious flowers from all over the universe. There were flowers of various shapes and colors. It was like a fairyland. Furthermore, there were various animals and birds that were full of spiritual energy. One could see that Heavenly Venerable Qing Shi was playing with a little bird with golden feathers in the garden. Senior Qing Shi. Jiang Xi walked over and bowed respectfully. Your garden is not bad. Heavenly Venerable Qing Shi did not even raise his head. He was still bending over and playing with the bird. This should be a layout that was set up by a real master gardener. It looks like it was made by nature. There are no traces of craftsmanship at all. He shook his head in admiration. Then he said, it's different to have power. You don't even need to give orders. Countless talented beings will help you do things beautifully. Although I'm a high and mighty heavenly venerable, I don't have any power. It seems like I have to find a force and become an alliance leader or leader. I'll be satisfied when I'm in that position. Jiang Xi continued the conversation. He smiled and said, Senior, if you join the Tao Alliance, your position will definitely. What? You want me to be the leader of the Tao Alliance? Heavenly Venerable Qing Shi interrupted him and said jokingly, you humans are willing to respect me? Jiang Xi smiled awkwardly. How is that possible? Humans were a peak race. No peak race would respect an outsider. This was a pride that was carved into their bones. Although Heavenly Venerable Qing Shi usually maintained his human form, Heavenly Venerable Ming and Tao Lord Nine Clouds had told Jiang Xi that this mysterious existence was not human. No one knew what kind of bloodline he was from. This was also a mystery thus, if Celestial Exalt Bluestone really did join the Tao Alliance, he would at most be ranked in the top 3. He definitely wouldn't have much actual power. I wouldn't accept it even if you offered it to me. I'm free and unrestrained by myself. Heavenly Venerable Bluestone shook his head again. Besides, the human race is in a bad situation right now. Although you've dealt a heavy blow to the demon race and the ghost race, there's an even bigger storm brewing in the dark. I'm not an idiot to join the Tao Alliance at a time like this. It seems that Senior is also paying attention to the recent situation. Jiang Xi also stopped smiling. He said, seriously, Senior, you're right. Although I've obtained a large number of Grade 6 and Grade 7 supreme treasures in the 8 Cloud Ruins, which have strengthened the foundation and strength of the human race, I've only obtained a few Grade 6 and Grade 7 supreme treasures. However, in the face of so many enemies, we are in urgent need of external help. I wonder if Senior would be willing to join our side? Empyrean Bluestone sat down in a rattan chair at the side and said with a smile, the rise and fall of the human race has nothing to do with me. I can't be bothered to care either. Even if the human race is annihilated, it's fine as long as Jiang Dudu is fine. To be honest, if it weren't for Jiang Dudu, I wouldn't even be bothered to care about you. Dao. Jiang Xi was dumbfounded. Senior, what secret is Dao hiding? He quickly asked. Heavenly Venerable Bluestone shook his head. When the time comes, I'll naturally tell you. However, for the sake of Jiang Dudu, I can provide you with some information. Senior, please tell me. Jiang Xi was immediately energized. First, you can invite Heavenly Venerable Lu and Heavenly Venerable Lai Shan. Among the lone Heavenly Venerables in the 4th universe, they're considered to be more trustworthy. As long as you're willing to take out the information of cultivating to the limit of a Heavenly Venerable, you should be able to invite them. Jiang Xi nodded lightly and remembered this in his heart. He had met Heavenly Venerable Lu before. He was a Heavenly Venerable expert who liked to gamble. However, he had never heard of Heavenly Venerable Lai Shan. He should be rarely active in the 4th universe. However, since Heavenly Venerable Bluestone took the initiative to recommend him, there should be no problem. Second, the root of this race war is in the upper realm. Heavenly Venerable Bluestone said again, upper realm. Jiang Xi was shocked. He had guessed correctly. When he found out that Heavenly Venerable Thousand Demon had a stage 8 armor treasure, he had this thought, but he didn't dare to confirm it. Now, Heavenly Venerable Bluestone had helped him confirm it. Senior, how do you know this? Jiang Xi asked. I have my own channels. You don't have to ask. Heavenly Venerable Bluestone shook his head. Then, he said seriously, I'm only providing you with these 2 pieces of information this time because of Jiang Dudu. Since the upper realm has already intervened in the power dispute in the Chaos Sea, they must have already started looking for something. In this way, they shouldn't be far from discovering Jiang Dudu. Therefore, you must grow up as soon as possible. Jiang Xi's expression turned cold, and he was extremely shocked in his heart. Although Heavenly Venerable Bluestone didn't reveal too much information to him, these words seemed to hide a shocking secret. A long time ago, Heavenly Venerable Bluestone had said that Jiang Dudu's secret was of great importance and couldn't be exposed. With Heavenly Venerable Bluestone's strength, he was ranked at the top in the entire Chaos Sea. Even Heavenly Venerable Purple Firmament and Heavenly Venerable Ming Ming couldn't see through him. Since Jiang Dudu's secret could make Heavenly Venerable Bluestone pay so much attention and be so vigilant, Jiang Xi naturally didn't let down his guard. He had always felt a sense of urgency in his heart. However, he didn't expect that Jiang Dudu's secret was actually related to the upper realm. Was it the astral realm? Or was it a power from the primordial realm? Jiang Xi didn't ask anymore. He knew that even if he asked, he wouldn't get an answer. He said respectfully, I'll remember. Thinking about it, he said again, Senior should know that although I obtained the 8 Clouds inheritance, due to the restrictions of the Chaos Sea's Heaven and Earth law, I can only look at the Heavenly Venerable Limit inheritances. However, I still know some information about cultivating eternity. It's all in this jade slip. Senior, feel free to take it. As Jiang Xi said that, he flipped his hand and took out a jade slip at the same time. However, Heavenly Venerable Bluestone didn't take it. He shook his head and said with a smile, Consider yourself considerate. If it was the 8 Clouds core inheritance, I would need it. Unfortunately, you can only provide me with some superficial inheritance information. It's of no help to me. Jiang Xi's heart stirred. He increasingly felt that Heavenly Venerable Bluestone was mysterious and unfathomable. One had to know that he hadn't revealed the difference between the core and periphery of the 8 Clouds inheritance to the outside world. However, Heavenly Venerable Bluestone was very clear about this point, as if he had long known about the situation of the 8 Clouds inheritance. That's all I have to say. Let's meet again next time. Grow up as soon as possible. In the future, perhaps you can help me. Heavenly Venerable Bluestone smiled. After saying that, he disappeared into thin air. Riverward still bowed, and then he stood on the spot and fell into deep thought. He was thinking about Heavenly Venerable Bluestone's strength and identity. Although the information I know about cultivating eternity is only a tiny bit, it's enough. If I were to take it out, it would definitely make those Heavenly Venerable powerhouses go crazy. However, in Senior Bluestone's eyes, it's not worth mentioning. From this, I can infer that Heavenly Venerable Bluestone should be at least a 3rd step Heavenly Venerable. I just don't know if he has reached the limits of a Heavenly Venerable. This was a very terrifying strength. This was because in the entire Chaos Sea, there were only about 10 3rd step Heavenly Venerable powerhouses. In terms of identity and origin, Jiang Xi also had a guess. This was because the 2 pieces of information mentioned the upper realm. Although Heavenly Venerable Bluestone didn't reveal the source of his information, the 2 words upper realm made Jiang Xi think of Qing Shuang's clan, a clan called the Qing Yuan clan. Back then, the 8 Clouds Divine General told him that before the Primordial Realm's army embarked on the final path, they left behind a force in the Primordial Realm's Chaos Sea to bring up the rear. Jiang Xi learned from the inheritance stones of the 8 Clouds Pavilion that the ones in charge of bringing up the rear were the Heavenly Feather Clan and the Qing Yuan clan. However, the Heavenly Feather Divine General later betrayed them, which caused the Primordial Realm's army to fail in the end. As for the ancestors of the Qing Yuan clan, who knew how many eras ago, They fought a great battle with the upper realm. In the end, the clan's strength plummeted and they disappeared in the long river of time. They only left some traces of their existence in the primordial realm's chaos sea. For example, that battle caused 2 more forbidden lands to appear in the primordial realm's chaos sea, Mount Xianhuang and Goldflow River. There was also that mysterious monitoring space. Qing Bluestone. Their names are so similar. Perhaps Senior Bluestone is a descendant of the Qing Yuan clan and has survived until now through some means? Zhang Xiai finally made a guess, but he still couldn't confirm the answer. He understood that only when his strength met Heavenly Venerable Bluestone's requirements could he get the answer he wanted. Afterward, Zhang Xiai didn't alert anyone on Earth and teleported away, returning to the Dao Alliance's heavenly court. Lord Mountain Sea. Lord Zhang Xiai. Greetings, Dao Lord. Zhang Xiai walked between the floating immortal palaces. Wherever he passed, the true monarchs and tribulation transcenders bowed respectfully. Race war. He looked at those magnificent palaces. Although he couldn't see the other Dao Lords, he could feel a powerful aura hidden in these palaces. Now the Dao Alliance's heavenly court was the headquarters of the Dao Alliance. Not only were there more than 20 Dao Lords of the human race gathered, but there were also more than 100 Dao Lords from other top races. Of these 100 Dao Lords, more than 80 were originally from the Dao Alliance's vassals of the human race. As for the remaining 100, they had just joined the Dao Alliance. There were more than 200 Dao Lords in total, and they were all preparing for the upcoming war. Zhang Xiai, a figure wearing golden armor, walked out from the distant Nine Firmaments Palace. It was Dao Lord Nine Firmaments' main body. Master. Zhang Xiai went forward and bowed respectfully. You came here for something? Dao Lord Nine Firmaments asked with a smile. In fact, according to the seniority between master and disciple, he didn't have to come out to greet Zhang Xiai. It was just that the human race was facing a crisis, and Dao Lord Nine Firmaments was the one who controlled the entire situation. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments was the one who received the forces that took the initiative to join and organize the powerhouses of the various forces. He came out to greet Zhang Xiai out of habit. Moreover, the powerhouses of the human race generally wouldn't come here to disturb Dao Lord Nine Firmaments. Since he was here, there must be something. Zhang Xiai smiled. There is something good that I came to tell you, Master. Oh. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments' interest was piqued. I just received news that Celestial Venerable Lu and Celestial Venerable Lai Shan can be invited. As long as you give them these 2 jade slips and promise that there will be space for them to live in the Holy Land universe that humans establish in the future. As Zhang Xiai spoke, he took out 2 jade slips. The information in the jade slips was the method to cultivate to the limits of a Celestial Venerable. Good. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments was pleasantly surprised. Most lone Celestial Venerables have eccentric personalities and are difficult to rope in. I was still worrying about how to rope in those lone Celestial Venerables. I didn't expect you to give me such a big gift. He laughed. By the way, where did you get the news? The personalities of lone Celestial Venerables are extremely secretive. It's very difficult for others to know. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments asked again. Celestial Venerable Bluestone told me. Zhang Xiai didn't hide it. After all, his current strength and status were different from before. It didn't matter if these secrets were exposed. Who in the human race would dare to cause trouble for him? Celestial Venerable Bluestone? No wonder. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments nodded gently and wasn't too surprised. It's because of his existence that Celestial Venerable Purple Firmament's Skyspan Mountain River diagram couldn't monitor Earth. It wasn't until you walked out of Earth that Skyspan Mountain River diagram was able to monitor Earth again. Speaking of which, he was the one who took Earth from us humans back then. Although his tone was flat, it gave Riverward a great shock. Celestial Venerable Bluestone took Earth? What was going on? This is something that happened a long time ago and wasn't recorded. I heard it from my master, Celestial Venerable Purple Firmament. It said that the first human in the 4th universe came from Earth. However, Celestial Venerable Bluestone suddenly appeared and took Earth from the humans, Dao Lord Nine Firmaments explained. Zhang Xiai was enlightened. It was no wonder that the human powerhouses all said that Earth was the ancestral land of the Dao Alliance's humans. However, he had been a peak human powerhouse for so long, but he hadn't found any information about Earth among the humans. Grandmaster Purple Firmament was an invincible celestial venerable. How could celestial venerable Bluestone take Earth from him? Jiang Xi was puzzled. Back then the human race was still very weak. My master wasn't an invincible celestial venerable from the beginning. Furthermore, my master wasn't in charge of the human race back then. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments explained. Jiang Xi nodded gently. It seemed like this was something that happened a long time ago. Celestial Venerable Purple Firmament continued. It wasn't until you walked out of Earth that my master Skyspan Mountain River diagram discovered Earth's existence again. Only then did he discover that Earth was hiding so many secrets. Now that I think about it, if Earth was just an ordinary planet with life, Celestial Venerable Bluestone wouldn't have taken Earth away with such great fanfare. Upon hearing this, Jiang Xi completely understood the relationship between Earth and the humans of the Tao Alliance. The humans of the fourth universe came from Earth. However, back then, the human race was still very weak, and didn't have the strength to discover the many secrets hidden on Earth. Then, Celestial Venerable Bluestone's appearance caused Earth to disappear from the human territory. Naturally, Earth's secrets were hidden as well. Earth, Jiang Xi thought to himself. He suddenly realized that he had never truly seen through this planet. At this moment, Tao Lord Nine Firmament said to Jiang Xi with anticipation, "Alright, your main body should hurry up and break through to become a Tao Lord as soon as possible. Then, our human race's chances of victory will be even greater." Understood. Jiang Xi nodded with a smile, temporarily suppressing his thoughts. Becoming a Tao Lord wasn't difficult for him at all. As long as his main body refined Mount Xianhuang, he could choose to break through at any time. Soon. First released, then changed. Chapter 636. In the primordial realm Chaos Sea, Mount Xianhuang, one of the three Deadlands, had stood tall in this vast world for a very long time. Although this place was filled with danger enough to kill heavenly venerables, it was also a cultivation holy land for tempering one's body and essence spirit. Therefore, many experts of the various factions in the Chaos Sea cultivated here. Among these cultivators, Heavenly Venerate Qingyan of the Great Sky Sacred Land was the strongest, followed by Heavenly Venerate Evil of the First Universe, and Heavenly Venerate Blood Moon of the Second Universe. These three Heavenly Venerates cultivated here partly to improve the strength of their bodies and essence spirits, and partly to find a way to refine Mount Xianhuang. Among them, Heavenly Venerate Qingyan had stayed here for the longest time, more than 1,000,000 epochs, but he still hadn't succeeded. On this day, Heavenly Venerate Qingyan, who was closest to Mount Xianhuang, suddenly felt that the powerful treasure aura emitted by Mount Xianhuang seemed to have changed. Although the aura of the treasure hadn't changed and still far surpassed that of a Tier 7 treasure, he felt that something was different. Strange. Heavenly Venerate Qingyan shook his head. Mount Xianhuang has had a few strange changes in the past tens of thousands of years. It must be the same this time. Perhaps. This is an opportunity for me to refine Mount Xianhuang? This thought flashed through his mind. Then, he began to excitedly try to refine Mount Xianhuang. Heavenly Venerate Qingyan didn't find it boring at all. He had long gotten used to this cultivation rhythm over the years. An epoch might pass if he opened his eyes or closed them. However, he had awakened more frequently in the past tens of thousands of years, and it was all related to a human. The first time it was a universe realm Tao Lord of the Heavenly Feather Race who asked him for help. Because he owed the first sacred lord of the Heavenly Feather Race a favor, he slapped that human. He didn't expect that after he attacked, that human actually succeeded in killing the universe realm Tao Lord of the Heavenly Feather Race and successfully dodged his slap. Then the 8 cloud ruins appeared and caused a stir in the Chaos Sea. However, Mount Xianhuang also had some strange changes at that time, so he didn't rush over. In the end, he discovered that the human Tao Lord who escaped from him was actually the 8 cloud inheritor, Tao Lord Mountain Sea. For this reason, he had been regretting it for the past few thousand years. He regretted not slapping Tao Lord Mountain Sea and killing him directly. Otherwise, this 8 clouds inheritance would belong to their Great Sky Holy Land. This was because the two most likely candidates to obtain 8 clouds legacy, other than Tao Monarch Mountain Sea, was their Great Sky Holy Land's true monarch Hu Yu. However, there was no point in regretting. It had already happened. At the core of Mount Xianhuang's origin space, The 9-layered mountain peak that was originally composed of white blades of light was now almost completely golden. Only the tip of the main peak was left with a bit of white. This was the final struggle of the spirit of Mount Xianhuang. Despicable human, I curse you! You will die a horrible death. The spirit of Mount Xianhuang roared. However, his voice was very soft and weak. Thank you for your curse. I will live well. Jiang Xi smiled. Then he split out 9 more strands of his spirit sense, forming mysterious spirit sense runes. Using the 9 spirits refinement art, he forcibly refined Mount Xianhuang. Buzz, as this spirit sense rune was imprinted, the 9-layered mountain peak trembled slightly. The last bit of white also turned golden. At this moment, Jiang Xi felt a strange connection with Mount Xianhuang. It was as if this towering mountain peak that was 900 million light-years tall had become a part of his body. Human. The spirit of Mount Xianhuang was still roaring crazily with a deep sense of despair. Goodbye. With a thought, Jiang Xi erased its existence. Mount Xianhuang. This supreme treasure's origin space is yours. It should be said that it was originally yours. Now it has returned to its rightful owner. He smiled again. Thank you, Master. The old spirit of Mount Xianhuang was pleasantly surprised. A shadow appeared on Jiang Xi's black armor with golden patterns. Then this shadow turned into a stream of light and drilled into the golden 9-layered mountain peak. At this point, after 2,600 years, he had finally refined this powerful supreme treasure that had stood in the Chaos Sea for countless eras. However, he was still unable to fully activate this 9th-grade supreme treasure. Let's give it a try first. Boom! Riverward's immortal force, primordial spirit force, and physical strength began to circulate rapidly. It was like a burning explosion of energy that spread throughout the origin source space and eventually covered every corner of the space. Rise! He growled. This colossal object that was 900 million light-years tall floated up 1 trillion kilometers, then slowly descended another 1 trillion kilometers. It's very strenuous. It's like a child trying to swing a giant hammer. With my current strength, I can't fully utilize this supreme treasure's power. Jiang Xi shook his head. In the outside world, Jiang Xi's attempt to activate Mount Xianhuang caused the entire mountain to tremble violently. It was as if more than half of the Chaos Sea had sensed the tremors. The boundless gray mist of the Chaos Sea was like a raging sea, stirring up raging waves. Mount Xianhuang's tremors released terrifying energy that tore open one abyssal fissure after another in the void. What's going on? Is the eternal road descending? Why does it feel like the sky is falling? The powerhouses cultivating in Mount Xianhuang felt it the most clearly. They were also the most shocked and terrified. In this chaotic situation, Jiang Xi silently teleported out of Mount Xianhuang's origin space. No powerhouse noticed him. He was now the master of Mount Xianhuang, so he could naturally enter and exit the origin space at will without causing any commotion. Moreover, Jiang Xi had already changed his appearance and aura. With the strength of his nascent spirit, unless a third-step celestial venerable personally inspected him, no one would be able to discern his true identity. Afterward, Jiang Xi arrived at a large security area of Mount Xianhuang and blended into the group of powerhouses cultivating in seclusion. He looked at the majestic mountain peak and muttered in his heart. Boom! The powerhouses cultivating in seclusion were even more shocked. Look, Mount Xianhuang is shrinking. It's shrinking. How is this possible? Mount Xianhuang, which was 900 million light-years tall, seemed to cover the entire world. Under the watchful eyes of the powerhouses cultivating in seclusion, it rapidly shrank. In the blink of an eye, it went from 900 million light-years tall to 1 light-year tall, and then to 1 kilometer tall. In the end, it disappeared into thin air. Completely disappeared. Mount Xianhuang disappeared. It was refined by some powerhouse? This is earth-shattering news. At this moment, whether it was the extremely noble Heavenly Venerable Dark Ink, Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon, Heavenly Venerable Evil, or the Tao Lords, they were all terrified who in the entire Chaos Sea could refine this legendary supreme treasure. Then, this news quickly spread to all the major factions in the Chaos Sea in an extremely frenzied manner. Although no one deliberately fanned the flames this time, The news of Mount Xuanhuang's disappearance shocked the major factions, no less than the Eight Clouds' inheritance. From now on, the primordial realm's Chaos Sea's 3 most dangerous lands would become 2 most dangerous lands. Great Sky Sacred Land, Giant Hammer Divine Realm's Divine Palace. It was originally empty. In just a moment, many powerhouses led by Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo arrived. Their faces were filled with unconcealable shock and surprise. I believe everyone already knows that Mount Xianhuang has disappeared, Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo said in a deep voice. Great Sky Supreme rarely appeared, so whenever something major happened in the Great Sky Sacred Land, Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo would be in charge. We also received the news. How could Mount Xianhuang disappear? It has stood in the Chaos Sea for countless years. Even invincible Heavenly Venerables can't forcefully take it away. How could it suddenly disappear? At this moment, no matter how high their status was or how strong their mental states were, they were still shocked by this sudden news. These powerhouses who had lived for countless eras were all shocked and in disbelief. Look, this is the scene sent by my clan's Heavenly Venerable Dark Ink. Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo pointed to the void. Whoosh! A scene appeared in the air above the Divine Palace. The scene recorded was the process of Mount Xuanhuang's disappearance. Mount Xianhuang began to tremble violently, and terrifying energy tore open abyssal cracks. Then Mount Xianhuang rapidly shrank and finally disappeared into thin air. Without a doubt, it's obvious that some powerhouse refined this legendary supreme treasure to be able to do this, Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo said in a deep voice. Who is it? Who has the strength to do so? Back then, even the Prime said that no powerhouse in the primordial realm's Chaos Sea was qualified to refine Mount Xianhuang. Even invincible Heavenly Venerables who reached the limits of Heavenly Venerables couldn't refine it. Yes, the long years have proven that no one can refine this supreme treasure with strength alone. Amidst the clamor, the powerhouses of the Great Sky Sacred Land expressed their opinions. In the end, Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo said in a deep voice, everyone has reached a consensus. It's indeed impossible to refine Mount Xianhuang with strength alone. Countless powerhouses have tried to refine it over the endless years, but none succeeded. In fact, my clan's Heavenly Venerable also tried to refine it before he attempted the Eternal Realm, but he still failed. It's indeed impossible to refine it with strength alone. We can be sure that refining Mount Xianhuang requires a fortuitous encounter. Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo said solemnly. The Tao Lords of the Great Sky Sacred Land all nodded in agreement. I suspect that some lucky young powerhouse went to Mount Xianhuang for the first time and happened to refine it, Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo said. Young powerhouse? First time to Mount Xianhuang? Everyone fell into deep thought. It was indeed possible, and the possibility was very high. No matter who he is, as long as he can control Mount Xianhuang, he's not weak. If he can fully unleash the power of this supreme treasure, he can be called invincible. Heavenly Venerable Wan Luo's eyes flashed. Therefore, we have to investigate. We have to find out who has Mount Xianhuang. If it's a weakling, then we have a chance to seize this supreme treasure and obtain the method to refine Mount Xianhuang from him. Yes, the Great Sky Sacred Land's Tao Lords all obeyed. Soon, this ancient sacred land universe began to reveal its ferocious claws and fangs to the vast primordial realm Chaos Sea to track down the owner of Mount Xianhuang. Juntian Supreme was the master of the Great Sky Sacred Land, so he naturally knew the contents of this meeting. However, he didn't show himself. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he didn't dare. He also coveted Mount Xianhuang and had tried many times, but unfortunately, he failed every time. Back then, even though he had the strength to challenge the Eternal Realm, he still couldn't do anything to Mount Xianhuang. That's a supreme treasure from the primordial realm. Juntian Supreme sighed softly. Who refined it? Could it be Thousand Transformations Divine General? He was bewildered. It seemed that this was the only possibility. However, intuition told Juntian Supreme that there might be other secrets. This was also the reason why he didn't stop his clansmen from investigating. If it was really refined by Thousand Transformations Divine General, then the investigation would definitely fail. If not, then the Great Sky Sacred Land would naturally think of ways to seize Mount Xianhuang. However, right now, I still have to complete Thousand Transformations Divine General's mission. Although the supreme treasure is important, it's not as important as becoming a disciple of the Thousand Transformations lineage. Thinking of this, Jun Tian Supreme shook his head, because some time ago, he discovered that he couldn't contact Thousand Transformations Divine General. This surprised him because the contact method was left behind by Thousand Transformations Divine General. Even if the other party was in the astral realm, he could receive his message. However, more than a month had passed, and he didn't receive any reply. Could it be that he just happened to refine Mount Xianhuang during this period of time? Jun Tian Supreme guessed, but in the end he still didn't have an answer. Let's wait and see. Jun Tian Supreme knew the priority of the matter. The most important thing now was to destroy the fourth universe's human race. Because through this matter, he might be able to capture Dao Lord Mountain Sea and gather information about Mountain Sea Star. This was killing 3 birds with 1 stone, directly completing the mission given to him by Thousand Transformations Divine General. Those trash from the demon race and ghost race, I gave them so many 7th grade supreme treasures and even 1 8th grade supreme treasure, but they still lost. Looks like I still have to use the 3rd move. Jun Tian Supreme shook his head lightly. Thousand Transformations Divine General gave him 10 8th grade supreme treasures, but he only took out 3 and gave them to the 3 heavenly venerables of the 4th universe. The other 7 8th grade supreme treasures were, of course, secretly kept by him as the foundation of the Great Sky Sacred Land. Boom! In the endless void of the Chaos Sea, a huge existence that was covered in black scales slowly appeared. For a time, the surrounding space within countless light years turned into a world of black flames. I haven't been to the Chaos Sea for a long time. This familiar smell. If Mount Xianhuang hadn't disappeared, I'm afraid I wouldn't have come out of the Sacred Land universe even after 1,000 calamity eras. Back then, even Red Lotus Supreme of my race couldn't take Mount Xianhuang away. I didn't expect it to be refined by some powerful being. I wonder which lucky little fellow it is. I have to find Mount Xianhuang, find that little fellow, and find out how he refined and controlled Mount Xianhuang. This terrifying existence from Red Lotus Sacred Land seemed to be moving slowly, but his speed was extremely fast as he rushed toward Mount Xianhuang's original location. At the same time, the various factions of the Chaos Sea also heard the news and began to investigate who had refined Mount Xianhuang. After all, the temptation of this legendary treasure was too great for them to resist. Therefore, the entire primordial realm's Chaos Sea was once again in turmoil. First released, then changed. Chapter 637. After successfully refining Mount Xianhuang, Jiang Xi found a vortex passage closest to Universe 4 through the monitoring space left by the Qingyuan clan and rushed there. As for the great shock caused by Mount Xianhuang's disappearance, it had nothing to do with him. The heavenly pavilion changed its shape and quickly shuttled through the endless chaos gray fog. It passed through dangerous places that caused the expressions of many experts in the Chaos Sea to change. In the treasure space, Jiang Xi frowned and fell into deep thought. It will take 3 more days to rush back to Universe 4 from here. The situation shouldn't have changed much. I can take advantage of this time to familiarize myself with the fused 7-fold mountain. With a thought, a 7-fold mountain appeared in front of him. It was formed by the fusion of his treasure 6-fold mountain and Mount Xianhuang. It's still at the peak of rank 9. It shouldn't be. Jiang Xi felt the treasure aura emitted by 7-fold mountain and shook his head. Master, this is the heaven and earth precepts of the Chaos Sea. I can feel that a large part of my treasure's origin is being suppressed by a domineering force. The old spirit of Mount Xianhuang, which was now the spirit of 7-fold mountain, explained the reason. Jiang Xi nodded lightly. The peak of rank 9 was equivalent to the peak of heavenly venerable. It was the highest level allowed in the Chaos Sea. Whether it was cultivators or treasures, they had to abide by this rule. Unless they broke this rule and broke through to the eternal realm. Then, with the explanation of the spirit of 7-fold mountain, Jiang Xi learned more about this treasure. Mount Xianhuang's original complete state was above rank 9. However, due to that great battle, this supreme treasure had been shattered into pieces, falling from that level. Now, although he had reassembled 7-fold mountain, this treasure was still incomplete. Only when all 9 mountains are gathered can this treasure be at its strongest state. The last 2 mountains should be in some corner of the primordial realm's chaos sea. I'll look for it after the crisis of my race is resolved, Zhang Xi thought. Next, he began to examine the various functions of Sevenfold Mountain. Armor transformation. The 9th rank supreme treasure, Sevenfold Mountain, turned into a black and gold stream of light and attached itself to Zhang Xi's body. Then it instantly transformed into a set of black battle armor. However, this was not the end. A part of the stream of light entered Zhang Xi's mind after circling around his primordial spirit. It turned into a golden soul armor. 9th level armor. 9th level soul armor. Zhang Xi's eyes lit up full of surprise. Armor true treasures and essence soul true treasures were complete. With such physical and essence soul defenses, who in the entire chaos sea can injure me? Zhang Xi was filled with confidence. Moreover, the power of the space-time domain has also been strengthened. Then with the thought, Zhang Xi's armor spread out an invisible wave. The surrounding space and time instantly froze. At the same time, it carried a terrifying pressure and binding force. Very strong. I wonder if he has reached the level of a celestial venerable? Zhang Xi understood that although Sevenfold Mountain's power was at the pinnacle of the 9th level, with his current strength, he still could not unleash the full power of this true treasure. When a celestial venerable had a miniature universe and used the space-time domain, it reflected the projection of the universe. Naturally, its power was far beyond the space-time domain of the Grotto Heaven world. After all, the diameter of a miniature universe was at least 1 trillion light years. No matter what, if I meet a celestial venerable in the chaos sea in the future, I will have greater confidence. Zhang Xi thought to himself. Previously, his avatar had a short fight with celestial venerable Thousand Devil of the demon race in the original universe. However, the original universe was different from the chaos sea. Everyone could only unleash the combat power of a Tao Lord, so that battle could not be considered a battle with a celestial venerable. Besides, I have to break through to the Tao Lord realm as soon as possible. Between a true Lord and a Tao Lord was actually a process of accumulation. As long as one could completely master a heaven path, one could break through. Of course, it was easier said than done. It was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. To comprehend and even fully master a heaven path, one could not lack talent, comprehension, and opportunity. From this point alone, the strength of the EXP panel was reflected. With the help of the interface, Riverward had comprehended 3 complete heavenly Tao in just over 100,000 years. Then let's break through now. There was nothing to hesitate about. With his accumulation and the guidance of the 8 Clouds inheritance, breaking through was not difficult. Zhang Xi operated the various powers in his body, including Tao techniques, primordial spirit, body, secret techniques, and world power. According to the method of breaking through in the 8 Clouds inheritance, he directly broke through the bottleneck between a true lord and a Tao Lord. Boom! Suddenly, there was a feeling of heaven and earth splitting that lingered in Riverward's heart. At this moment, his body and primordial spirit seemed to have been sublimated, and his life level had undergone a transition. At the same time, in the depths of the space between the 4th universe, Zhang Xi's Grotto Heaven world was also undergoing drastic changes. At the edge of the originally calm and peaceful world, a vortex with a diameter of more than 1 million kilometers appeared. The entire vortex appeared layer by layer, showing 5 colors and emitting monstrous pressure. At the center of the vortex was a passageway with a diameter of 100 kilometers, connecting to the land of origin of the 4th universe. Zhang Xi's avatar stood in front of the passageway with a serious expression. This is the most critical moment. Devour the universe origin. In the boundless chaos sea, there was no lack of chaos fog. This was an extremely high-level energy, and so far no great being dared to directly absorb this energy with his body. This was because this was the source of the universe origin. The 4 original universes, the 2 eternal universes, and a large number of miniature universes of celestial venerables absorbed chaos fog to transform into universe origin and expand their size. Similarly, the Grotto Heaven worlds of True Lords and Tao Lords also absorbed energy to expand, but the Grotto Heaven worlds absorbed universe origin. Under normal circumstances, a universe Tao Lord would need to spend millions or even tens of millions of eras to expand his Grotto Heaven world to a diameter of 900 million light years. That was the limit of a grotto heaven world's size. This was because the expansion of a grotto heaven world was a very long process. It was very difficult to reach a diameter of 900 million light-years. To reach the real limit, which was a diameter of 10 billion light-years, one had to have a heaven-defying opportunity. Although breaking through from a true lord to a Tao lord wasn't a heaven-defying opportunity, it was still a great opportunity. Many cultivators with a strong foundation could devour universe origin to rapidly expand their grotto heaven worlds during this process. This way they could lay a solid foundation for their path to becoming a Tao lord. Unlike ordinary cultivators, Jiangxi's mountain sea grotto heaven had already expanded to a diameter of 4 billion light-years. By constantly integrating eternal fragments, this didn't mean that he didn't care about the opportunity brought by this breakthrough. On the contrary, he cared too much. This was because the universe origin he devoured could be transformed into experience points. Last time, when he transcended 9 tribulations in the ancient immortal world and broke through to the tribulation transcender realm, the original will of the fourth universe gave him a lot of heavenly Tao origin. And the heavenly Tao origin was a manifestation of the universe origin. In other words, one wisp of universe origin equals 10 trillion experience points. One eternal experience point equals 1 trillion experience points equals 1,000 wisps of universe origin. Therefore, Jiangxi cared too much about this breakthrough. The breakthrough process is very short, so I must devour the universe origin as much as possible. Jiangxi's heart was filled with anticipation as he fully activated the devouring power of the grotto heaven world. Rumble. Although the colorful vortex channel was only 100 kilometers in diameter, it was crazily devouring the universe origin from the land of the universe origin. Snake-like streams of colorful light flowed along the vortex channel and continuously poured into the mountain sea grotto heaven. Every single stream of rainbow light was a universe origin. This speed was naturally many times faster than when Jiangxi transcended 9 tribulations in a row. Some of these universe origins directly integrated into the mountain sea grotto heaven, expanding the size of the grotto heaven world. Most of them were refined by Jiangxi. Refine. Jiangxi tried his best to refine the universe origins with his primordial spirit. With the strength of his primordial spirit, the efficiency of refining was extremely high. In almost an instant, he could refine a universe origin and obtain 10 trillion experience points. However, in Jiangxi's view, this speed was far from enough. In just a moment, the vortex channel connecting to the land of origin of the fourth universe disappeared. The breakthrough process from perfected lord to Tao lord was over. The diameter of the mountain sea grotto heaven has reached 5 billion light-years. If I use eternal fragments to upgrade, it will probably take at least 100,000 years. Jiangxi smiled. Previously, when he was in seclusion in the Eight Clouds Pavilion, it took him 30,000 years to increase the diameter of the mountain sea grotto heaven from 3 billion light-years to 4 billion light-years. The larger the grotto heaven world was, the longer it would take to expand. Through this breakthrough, he directly saved 100,000 years of effort. If an ordinary perfected lord breaks through to Tao lord, it would be good if the diameter of the grotto heaven world can be increased by 1 million light-years. Jiangxi was very satisfied with this upgrade, which benefited from his accumulation of foundation. After all, which expert at the perfected lord level could have a grotto heaven world with a diameter of 4 billion light-years? However, the biggest gain this time is not the expansion of the grotto heaven world. Jiangxi glanced at the changes in the experience points panel. Cultivation True Body Desolate Level Tao Lord, 1 yuan/100 yuan. Clone, Desolate Level Tao Lord, 1 yuan/100 yuan. Eternal Experience Points, 19183 yuan. In just a short moment, he had obtained a total of nearly 20,000 eternal experience points. If he were to hunt Tao Lords, even if he were to kill all the universe Tao Lords, he would have to kill more than 2,000 of them. This was too difficult. Previously, when the major forces of the Chaos Sea ambushed him outside the Eight Clouds ruins, it provided him with a great opportunity to hunt. It was almost impossible for there to be a next time. With so many experience points, at least it will be enough for me to use for a long time. Jiangxi thought to himself. In the following time, Jiangxi began to carefully comprehend his new realm and strength. At the same time, he used the experience points panel to increase his cultivation level and the level of his two ultimate techniques. Ever since he reached the perfected Lord level, he was no longer restricted by the restriction of having to refine spiritual fruits to level up. This was because before he became a perfected Lord, his body and primordial spirit could not withstand the impact of rapid leveling up. Therefore, he had to use a large amount of spiritual energy to offset that impact. After he became a perfected Lord with his strength, he would be able to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and refine enough energy in an instant. He would no longer need to rely on spiritual fruits. In the blink of an eye, another half a month passed. Jiang Xi's true body had quietly returned to Universe 4 without causing any commotion. Only the upper echelons of the human race knew that he had returned. During this period of time, the situation in Universe 4 became more and more tense. The human race, the demon race, and the ghost race, the three peak races, were all trying their best to rope in those top races. The advantage of the human race was naturally Jiang Xi's promise that after the war, he would give them a certain amount of inheritance information. The advantage of the demon race and the ghost race was that they promised to give better conditions and more inheritance information than the human race. This was because behind these two peak races stood Jun Tian Supreme. This existence had already cultivated to the eternal realm and was not restricted by the Chaos Sea's laws of heaven and earth. He could provide more information about the eternal realm than Jiang Xi. Although Jiang Xi had the Eight Clouds inheritance, he could not see a large amount of information beyond the heavenly venerable limit. In comparison, his advantage was much smaller. Of course, no matter what, the two camps with the three peak races as the core were still gradually taking shape. The human race's camp was one side, and the demon race and the ghost race's camp was the other side. Under this undercurrent, the upcoming terrifying war was getting closer and closer. The entire Universe 4 had fallen into the terrifying oppression before an unprecedented super war. Jiang Xi, come quickly. On this day, Jiang Xi, who was also cultivating in the Tao Alliance's heavenly court, suddenly heard Tao Lord Nine Cloud's voice. His voice was very anxious. Oh! Jiang Xi immediately felt that something was amiss. This was because Master Nine Clouds was an extremely steady person. He rarely appeared in such an anxious situation. Swoosh! He immediately teleported and arrived at Nine Clouds Hall where Tao Lord Nine Clouds was. In the hall, Venerable Ming, Tao Lord Yanqing, Tao Lord Shizun, Tao Lord Sword One, Tao Lord Chongyuan, and the other human experts also teleported over. Almost instantly, a total of 1 heavenly venerable and 23 Tao Lords of the human race, including Tao Lord Nine Clouds who was originally in the hall, arrived. What in the world happened to make Master so anxious? Riverward looked at the frowning Tao Lord Nine Firmaments. The other human experts also had solemn expressions. Everyone felt an invisible pressure. It was an intuition that something was wrong. Everyone. Tao Lord Nine Clouds looked at everyone and said in a deep voice, "The situation has just changed." What change? Nine Clouds, what happened? What's going on? All the human experts, including Ming Tianzuan, asked one after another. During this period of time, everyone had been in seclusion cultivation. Tao Lord Nine Clouds was usually in charge of controlling the situation. I just received news that a large number of top races, Tao Lord Nine Clouds said solemnly. Jiang Xi, Venerable Ming, and the others were shocked. The Tao Lords of the top races were the key to this race war. In the alliance of the human race, the demon race, and the ghost race, whoever could obtain more would have a greater advantage. Judging from Tao Lord Nine Clouds' grim expression, could it be that many top races had joined the alliance? There are a total of 194 top races, close to 10,000 ordinary races and billions of weak races. They have formed an unprecedented new faction, the Myriad Races Alliance. Tao Lord Nine Clouds said in a deep voice, "The Myriad Races Alliance." Instantly the hall was in an uproar. Jiang Xi, Venerable Ming, and the other human experts were all shocked. This was a huge change in the situation that changed the current situation of Universe 4. First released, then changed. Chapter 638. Within Nine Firmaments Palace. The human Tao Lords were shocked and puzzled after hearing Tao Lord Nine Firmaments' words. How is that possible? There are so many clans. It's too difficult to unite them. Yes, if they could form an alliance they would have done so many eras ago. They wouldn't have waited until now. The sudden appearance of the alliance of myriad races was too shocking. There were a total of 3 peak races in the fourth universe. They were in a tripartite situation and controlled more than 90% of the entire universe. Although the 3 races were at war with each other, everyone had a tacit understanding for their own interests. They wouldn't sit back and watch a 4th peak race appear. For example, the Battle Rune race of the Purple Firmament sect in the human territory, and the Ancient God race of the Tonggu continent in the Outer Realm battlefield. The Tao Lord patriarchs of these races were once existences who had the potential to become celestial venerables. However, before they could mature, they were destroyed by the experts of the 3 races. Those top clans, close to 10,000 ordinary clans and billions of weak clans, if they wanted to survive, they basically had to rely on stronger clans to ensure their survival. Therefore, the situation in the 4th universe had been relatively stable for countless years under the control of the 3 peak races. Moreover, although so many peak, ordinary, and weak races were scattered in various corners of the universe, they weren't harmonious. Many races had grudges between them. Let so many races form an alliance? The alliance of the human camp, the monster race, and the ghost race had never considered such a situation. After all, in such a short period of time, it was too difficult to unite the countless clans. It was almost impossible. In addition, the strength of the ordinary and weak clans was indeed very weak. As there were no Tao Lords, they were in precarious situations in the universe. They could only rely on the protection of the peak races to survive. Even if they formed an alliance, they wouldn't pose a threat to the 3 peak races. Naturally, everyone ignored the possibility of them forming an alliance. The real threat to the 3 pinnacle clans was the alliance of 194 pinnacle clans. 194 peak races. How many Tao Lords do they have? How did they do it? Zhang Xi couldn't believe it. An alliance between races wasn't something that could be settled by everyone sitting together and talking. Moreover, the alliance of myriad races involved so many races. There were grievances, disputes over interests, who had a higher status, who had a lower status, and who was the leader. These were all contradictions. It was too difficult to twist everyone into a single group. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments said in a deep voice, "An external force is behind all of this." In the past, the 4th universe was under the control of the 3 pinnacle races, and the situation was relatively stable. Those races were not under enough pressure. And now, because the 2 camps were trying to rope them in, their team was being forced. Under these circumstances, there were naturally some Tao Lords who didn't want to help either side. However, they were worried that they wouldn't be strong enough by themselves. Thus, some Tao Lords began to form factions in secret. Although there were signs before, I didn't take it seriously because the scale was small. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, the situation would change so drastically? The small alliances would suddenly form a super alliance. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments explained the situation and said solemnly, "Furthermore, the leader of the Myriad Races Alliance is Patriarch Demon Heart." As soon as he said this, the expressions of the human clan experts in the hall changed slightly. Patriarch Demon Heart. He was a lone heavenly venerate of the 4th universe. He was an extremely mysterious existence who rarely appeared in the 4th universe. Among the lone heavenly venerates, Heavenly Venerate Bluestone and Patriarch Demonheart were equally mysterious. All the factions in the Chaos Sea were wary of them. This was because they had dominated the Chaos Sea for so long and had never been defeated. They also never participated in the disputes between factions. In terms of overall strength, the newly formed Myriad Races Alliance was definitely ranked in the top 5 of the Chaos Sea. However, a mysterious existence like Patriarch Demonheart had become the leader of the Myriad Races Alliance without any warning. There are 194 pinnacle races in the Myriad Races Alliance, and each race has at least one Tao Lord expert. In total, there are more than 600 Tao Lords. Furthermore, some of the Tao Lords in the human camp, the demon camp, and the ghost camp have left and joined the Myriad Races Alliance, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments said solemnly. Left. The human experts didn't look too good. Of course, everyone understood that vassal races were ultimately just vassals. It was impossible to make them follow unswervingly. Before this, the various pinnacle races had no choice but to make a choice when faced with the recruitment of the 2 camps. Although many had gritted their teeth and joined the human race, however, When some of the pinnacle races secretly formed an alliance, it was naturally easy to take away these unwilling races. 9 firmaments. How many Tao Lords in our human camp are missing? Venerable Ming asked in a low voice. A while ago, the human camp had 192 Tao Lords. But now, including us, there are 161 left. I'm afraid there will be more Tao Lords coming to bid farewell. If they want to leave, we can't stop them. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments shook his head with a bitter smile. For a time, 9 Firmaments' palace fell silent. The atmosphere was very stifling. Jiang Xi, Venerable Ming, and the other human experts all had grim expressions. When those races had come to join the human camp, they had merely done so. Although they had received promises from the human race, they couldn't sell themselves to the human race forever. If the human race forcefully stopped them, it would probably cause an even greater storm. There's another piece of bad news, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments said. Upon hearing this, Jiang Xi, Venerable Ming, and the others smiled bitterly. There's more. There are a total of 8 heavenly venerables in the 4th universe, including Patriarch Demon Heart. 5 of them have joined the Myriad Races Alliance. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments looked at everyone with a grave expression. Immediately, everyone fell silent. If the Myriad Races Alliance only had a large number of Tao Lords, everyone could accept it. But now, the Myriad Races Alliance had actually recruited so many Heavenly Venerables at the Heavenly Venerables level. The situation was different. Even if Heavenly Venerables were limited by the laws of heaven and earth of the primal universe, and could only display the combat strength of a Tao Lord, they were still invincible. One invincible expert was enough to change the outcome of a war, let alone 5. What I'm worried about now is whether they also have that many 7th-tier supreme treasures. Or even 8th-tier supreme treasures. Jiang Xi's eyes flickered as he said slowly. The moment these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed. That's right. The Fey race and Ghost race each suddenly had 10 7th-tier supreme treasures, and the 2 heavenly venerables of their race suddenly had an 8th-tier supreme treasure. Behind all of this, there was a huge mastermind behind all of this. No matter how they looked at it now, the formation of the Myriad Races Alliance was very strange. Perhaps their alliance was manipulated by the Big Black Hand then. The possibility of them having 7th-tier supreme treasures or even 8th-tier supreme treasures was very high. Wait, we can only wait now. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments sighed softly. After the formation of the Myriad Races Alliance, it's still uncertain whether they'll be friends or foes. Previously, the individual races didn't have the confidence to negotiate or make demands with the 2 major factions. But now they're considered one of the top 5 major factions in the Chaos Sea. They're enough to influence the direction of this race war. It can be said that whichever side they join, that side will win. I believe that the formation of the Myriad Races Alliance is definitely not accidental. Especially that Patriarch Demon Heart. He never participated in the conflict between factions before. This time he quietly became the leader of this super faction. He definitely has a request. Therefore, the Myriad Races Alliance will make a move very soon. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments regained his calm. The experts of the human race nodded in agreement. Although the situation was terrible, it wasn't to the point of being at the end of the line. If they really join the alliance of the demon race and ghost race, then don't blame me for going on a killing spree. Jiang Xi thought to himself, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. This was his main body now. In terms of strength, his main body was naturally stronger. The strength of his clone's primordial spirit was still at the level of a Tao Lord, but his main body's primordial spirit was already at the level of a first-step heavenly venerable. 8 Firmaments 2 ultimate techniques, 8 lives and cloud annihilation, target the body and primordial spirit respectively. These 2 ultimate techniques aren't just cultivation methods. They also have mysterious and powerful offensive methods. The contents of the 2 ultimate techniques surfaced in Jiang Xi's mind. The offensive method of 8 lives was to allow the body to explode with greater strength for a short period of time. Simply put, it was similar to self-destruction. It allowed the body's strength to explode in an instant. It allowed the cultivator's strength to increase by 100, 1,000 or even 10,000 times. The offensive method of cloud annihilation was to attack with the primordial spirit. It was a very simple offensive method. However, the Great Tao was simple. The simpler the method, the easier it was to cause great damage to the enemy. However, the minimum requirement to use the primordial spirit attack was that the cultivator's primordial spirit had to be at the level of a first step heavenly venerable, therefore, his clone couldn't use it previously. Cloud annihilation means that under the primordial spirit attack, any primordial spirit that is weaker than mine will be destroyed like clouds and mist, falling into a muddle-headed state. With the strength of my first step heavenly venerable primordial spirit, those Tao Lords won't be able to withstand my primordial spirit attack unless they have a 7th-step primordial spirit treasure. Jiang Xi's heart was filled with killing intent. He was a member of the human race. The human race was his home. If anyone dared to destroy his home, he wouldn't be merciful. Of course, this was an extreme case. If the alliance of the myriad races was willing to join the human race, it would be a good thing. This would minimize the human race's losses. After all, once the war started, even if the human race won, they would have to pay a certain price. In a desolate starry sky in the 4th universe, Heavenly Venerable Myriad Demon of the demon race and Heavenly Venerable Yen Du of the ghost race gathered here. I didn't expect these weak races to form an alliance. That damnable patriarch Demon Heart. He's the one who pushed all of this to the formation of the alliance of myriad races. He caused some of the Tao Lords who had joined our alliance to leave. There's nothing we can do to stop them or persuade them to leave. Yes, now the initiative is with the alliance of the myriad races. We can only wait and see what they're going to do after forming an alliance. That's all we can do. The alliance of the demon race and ghost race was also caught off guard. Although they suspected that Jun Tian Supreme might be behind this, they couldn't be sure since Jun Tian Supreme didn't take the initiative to contact them. Just like that, another half a month passed. The alliance of the myriad races announced to the 4th universe and the entire Chaos Sea that this super alliance was officially established. As soon as this alliance was established, it became the #1 force in the 4th universe and the top 5 forces in the Chaos Sea. Although the temporary alliance formed by the demon race and ghost race had hundreds of Tao Lords, they were still 2 forces in essence. It was a very loose camp. Compared to them, the alliance of the myriad races was different. This newly formed superforce aimed to exist forever. Therefore, although there were many races, their internal structure was very stable in the 4th universe, the headquarters of the alliance of the myriad races. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Surging golden waves rolled in the starry sky. Those stars and planets were like gravel, bobbing up and down in the golden waves, not affected at all. There was a starry sky continent floating among these stars. In the sky above the starry sky continent, huge thrones spread out in a ring shape. On each throne sat or occupied all kinds of strange life forms. Flesh and blood, energy, metal, rock, plant, and so on. Many kinds of life forms emitted powerful auras. In the core, on a black and white throne, sat a young man wearing a black and gold robe with long green hair. His face was both male and female, and he was extremely handsome. His eyes flickered with specks of light. Each speck of light seemed to contain a universe. It was Patriarch Demon Heart. His voice reverberated in every inch of this space-time. Everyone, from today onwards, the alliance of myriad races is officially established. We have come together only for survival, for freedom. Even the most powerful of us here only have 9 Tao Lords. The vast majority of top-tier clans only have a single Tao Lord. If we face the human camp alone, we will naturally be very weak against the combined forces of the demon race and ghost race. If we join their camp, we will be in danger of dying, but we have to do it. And if we take such a big risk, the benefits we will get in the end will be limited. We are also a life form race, and we are also a part of the 4th universe. However, facing the coercion of the 2 camps, we don't even have the most basic freedom to not help either side and live peacefully. Who will be willing? Patriarch Demon Heart looked around. The Tao Lords all nodded. Not too long ago, they had been caught between a rock and a hard place. Although I, Demon Heart, am a heavenly venerable, in the face of this unprecedented race war, I alone can't affect the overall situation. I am not willing to accept this. Patriarch Demon Heart said in a deep voice. What are we fighting in this vast universe for? It's for the sake of getting what I want and protecting what I care about. If we can't do this, then what's the point of cultivating? Therefore, the alliance of the myriad races was established. Everyone pursues the goals in their hearts and protects what they care about the most. Patriarch Demonheart's eyes were bright, and he was in high spirits. Let's not talk about the ordinary and weak races. Our alliance of the myriad races has a total of 5 heavenly venerables and 683 Tao Lords. With such strength, even if the 3 peak races work together, they can't do anything to us. Therefore, this race war started by the 3 peak races is not a crisis, but an opportunity for us. An opportunity that can change our fate. As long as we are united, be it now or in the future, our alliance of the myriad races will stand at the peak of the 4th universe. In the future, we might even have a chance to reach eternity and become eternal existences who don't fear the dangers of the cataclysm. Patriarch Demonheart's voice rang in the ears of every Tao Lord, drawing out the desires in their hearts. They had their own goals and dreams. However, because they were weak, they didn't have the confidence to ask the 3 peak races for their conditions. They could only accept the conditions of the humans, ghosts, and monsters. But now, all they needed to do was look around at the thrones that were densely packed. When they saw the towering figures of 683 Tao Lords, they were filled with confidence. With such a powerful force, he should obtain even more. Just as Patriarch Demonheart had said, it would be best if they could obtain the 8 Clouds legacy from the humans. That way, the alliance of the myriad races could establish an eternal universe and become an eternal existence in the Chaos Sea. As time flowed on, the Tao Lords who had joined the Human Alliance, the Monster Alliance, and the Ghoul Alliance began to leave and join the alliance of myriad races. It didn't end until the alliance of the myriad races was officially established. When the 2 factions learned of the final scale of the alliance of the myriad races, they felt an even greater pressure and urgency. 5 heavenly venerables and 683 Tao Lords. If this had been before the race war, they would have been able to crush the 3 peak races. After all, even the strongest race, the humans, only had 1 heavenly venerate and 23 Tao Lords. In the desolate starry sky of the 4th universe, Heavenly Venerate Myriad Demon and Heavenly Venerate Yendu's spiritual consciousnesses gathered once more to discuss the latest situation. Our 2 peak races have joined forces, together with the peak races that were originally subordinate to us. Even though many new Tao Lords have left during this period of time, we still have a few. We still have 389 Tao Lords in our alliance. Most importantly, they have 5 heavenly venerables. Even though we have many 7th grade supreme treasures, the 2 of us have 8th grade supreme treasures. But in a real battle, we still can't defeat the alliance of the myriad races. What should we do? Agree to their conditions? Heavenly Venerate Myriad Demon and Heavenly Venerate Yendu fell silent. Not long ago, the alliance of the myriad races had come to them with conditions. The conditions were very simple. First, if they obtained 8 Clouds inheritance from the humans in the future, the contents of the inheritance had to be shared. Second, they had to give the alliance 3 7th grade supreme treasures. If these 2 conditions were met, the alliance of the myriad races would directly join the alliance. 3 7th grade supreme treasures. They really dare to ask. Heavenly Venerate Myriad Demon snorted angrily. Originally, the Yao race had obtained 10 7th grade supreme treasures from Juntian Supreme. But in the first battle, the humans had taken away 7. The Yao race now only had 3 7th grade supreme treasures left, but the alliance of the myriad races still dared to ask for them. They were indeed very domineering. This isn't strange. Given the same conditions, the alliance of the myriad races would definitely be more willing to join the human camp. Because once they join, the humans will definitely win, and the humans will definitely give them 8 Clouds inheritance. Therefore, they're only proposing such ridiculous conditions to us on purpose. I keep feeling that this matter isn't simple. Let's wait a little longer. They should have also proposed conditions to the humans. If the humans refuse, then it'll be much easier for us to negotiate with the alliance of the myriad races. Such ridiculous conditions can be lowered. At the same time, the human camp had indeed received the conditions proposed by the alliance of the myriad races. We humans need to discuss this properly. Once there's a result, we'll naturally reply, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments said. Then the alliance of the myriad races will await your reply, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments. One of them was a strange life form covered in flames. He bowed slightly, then flew out of the Tao Alliance's heavenly court. Moments later, the human experts gathered in Nine Firmaments Hall once more. It was still Tao Lord Nine Firmaments who presided over the meeting. He said directly, "The emissary of the Alliance of the Myriad Races just came. Their conditions are indeed as high as we imagined. Tao Lords break through to the Heavenly Venerate level and cultivate to the limits of the Heavenly Venerate level. They must first be given a portion before they'll join. After the war ends, we'll give them the rest." However, this is only the first situation. There's a second situation. No matter what, we must give them the 8 clouds inheritance of how Tao Lords cultivate to the Heavenly Venerate level. Only then will they not side with either side. Otherwise, they'll join the alliance of the Yao race and the Ghost race. After Tao Lord Nine Firmaments finished speaking, the human experts in the hall were immediately enraged. They really have guts. They really have the guts. How can they not have guts? With so many Tao Lords around, they're naturally confident. Even if they don't side with either side, they still want to ask for the 8 clouds inheritance of how Tao Lords cultivate to the Heavenly Venerate level. How greedy! Some of the human experts laughed angrily, some sneered, and some were filled with killing intent. However, everyone understood that they had no other choice at the moment. After all, the initiative was in the hands of the Alliance of the Myriad Races. This superpower controlled the direction of the war between the races. We can delay this matter for a while longer. There's no need to rush to reply to them. Let's see if there's a turning point later. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments said softly. The human race was indeed unwilling to casually give away their inheritance. After all, even the simplest 8 clouds inheritance had to be shared with the experts of the Alliance of the Myriad Races. Only when they felt that they had benefited greatly would they join the human side. However, if they could benefit greatly from it, it would be equivalent to helping them. The Alliance of the Myriad Races was powerful to begin with. Once they obtained a portion of the inheritance, they would probably become even more powerful. The only good news now is that Heavenly Venerate Lu and Heavenly Venerate Lai Shan haven't left. They are indeed experts who keep their promises. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments added Zhang Xi, Heavenly Venerate Ming, and the other human experts nodded as well. This was really the only good news. With these 2 Heavenly Venerates around, the situation facing the human race would not be as bad as imagined no matter what. Chapter 639. The power structure of the 4th universe gradually became clearer. The human camp. There were a total of 3 Heavenly Venerables. They were Heavenly Venerate Ming, Heavenly Venerate Lu, and Heavenly Venerate Lai Shan. Although a portion of the Tao Lords had left, there were still 156 of them left. Among them, Zhang Xi and Tao Lord Nine Firmaments were invincible Tao Lords in the primal universe. The alliance of the demon and ghost clans. There were a total of 2 Heavenly Venerables. They were Heavenly Venerate Myriad Demon and Heavenly Venerate Yen Du. A portion of the Tao Lords had also left. However, they were the alliance of 2 pinnacle races and had brought many vassal races with them. In the end, there were only 389 Tao Lords left. The Myriad Races Alliance. There were a total of 5 Heavenly Venerables. They were Patriarch Demonheart, Heavenly Venerate Sanchi, Tao Lord Jadesoul, and other lone Heavenly Venerables. There were a total of 683 Tao Lords. In terms of overall strength, they absolutely crushed the first 2 camps. Even though the human camp and the Alliance had different amounts of 7th grade and 8th grade supreme treasures, they could not compete with the number of experts of the Myriad Races Alliance. Moreover, who knew if the Myriad Races Alliance did not secretly hide any 7th grade or 8th grade supreme treasures? The current situation was that whichever side the Myriad Races Alliance joined would win. They could control the situation of this war. Human territory. Tao Alliance Heavenly Court. The Myriad Races Alliance. The Alliance. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments stood in front of the palace railings and looked at the endless galaxy. His eyes were filled with worry. They are all waiting for the human race's reply. They are all vainly trying to obtain more information about the inheritance. How can one become a Heavenly Venerate? How can one cultivate to the limit of a Heavenly Venerate? If these inheritances are really given to them and spread, It would be equivalent to telling all the major factions about the Eight Clouds' inheritance. If we do that, what's the point of Jiang Xi fighting desperately for the inheritance in the Eight Clouds' ruins? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments was indeed very troubled. Jiang Xi had already told the upper echelons of the human race that the source of the changes in the fourth universe and the crisis of the human race was not within this universe. Instead, it was in the primal realm's chaos sea, the two sacred grounds, and the upper realm. Of course, these were only the hidden dangers. As long as these human powerhouses did not leave the fourth universe, the many forces in the chaos sea would not be able to threaten them. The human race only needed to solve the crisis within the fourth universe. With the Eight Clouds' inheritance, even if they did not go to the chaos sea for a short time, they could become more powerful. By then, they would not need to fear the various forces in the chaos sea. However, the problem was that the crisis in front of them was not easy to solve. Since they knew about the emergence of the Myriad Races Alliance, it was very likely that they were manipulated by the hand behind the scenes. In that case, it was not hard to guess that the alliance of 10,000 races might also have a large number of 7th grade and 8th grade supreme treasures. With such a large number of experts and so many 7th grade and 8th grade supreme treasures, it was impossible for the human camp to win. Are we really going to give them the legacy information? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments shook his head. No one would be willing to do that. Based on what Jiang Xi could see, the Eight Clouds' legacy could be divided into two parts for humans. The first part was a system of training from low to high, which would allow the race to more efficiently produce Tao Lords. The second part was the method to allow Tao Lords to cultivate to the Heavenly Venerate level, as well as the information regarding the legacies that would allow them to reach the Heavenly Venerate level. Now, what the Alliance of 10,000 Races wanted was the second part. With the help of the Eight Clouds' inheritance, the human race might be able to produce close to 1,000 Tao Lords in the future. However, there were close to 700 Tao Lords in the Alliance of 10,000 Races now. With such a large base, once the Alliance of 10,000 Races received the cultivation guidance, they might be able to produce more Celestial Venerables, or even 1 or 2 invincible Celestial Venerables. In that case, the Eight Clouds' inheritance that Jiang Xi had risked his life to obtain would be taken advantage of by the other races. After all, the human race would need a long time to benefit from the Eight Clouds' inheritance. As long as the Alliance of 10,000 Races obtained it, they would be able to benefit from it. In that case, I might as well fight to the death. The other races won't be able to get anything at all. Tao Lord Nine Firmament's eyes were filled with determination. At most, we'll implement the Tinder plan. The human elites will enter tomorrow Venerable's miniature universe, and the high-level great beings will enter the ancient Tao source world. We'll lay low for a period of time. When the human race is strong enough, we'll take back our original territory and even occupy the entire fourth universe. Of course, Tao Lord Nine Firmaments understood that this was the last resort. The situation hadn't reached that stage yet. The so-called United Camp and the Alliance of 10,000 Races couldn't keep their great beings together forever. At that moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the winding corridor below, interrupting Tao Lord Nine Firmament's thoughts. It was Jiang Xi dressed in black armor. Shua. Master. Jiang Xi stepped in front of Tao Lord Nine Firmaments and bowed. Has your realm stabilized? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments chuckled, hiding his previous worries. He knew that Jiang Xi had recently broken through, and had officially become a Tao Lord. Unfortunately, if this had happened before the Alliance of 10,000 Races appeared, Jiang Xi's breakthrough would have brought about a great turning point in this war. Now Jiang Xi's strength alone couldn't change anything in the face of the Alliance of 10,000 Races. Yes, it's stabilized. Jiang Xi nodded, then asked, Master, I saw that you seemed a little troubled just now. Are you worried about the upcoming final war? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments didn't hide anything and sighed. How can I not be troubled? The Alliance of 10,000 Races is a huge variable. It's like a thorn stuck in the throat of our human race. It hurts to swallow it and it hurts to spit it out. Then what do you mean, Master? Jiang Xi asked. You risked your life to obtain the Eight Clouds' inheritance. It's the hope of our human race's future. If we agree to their request, wouldn't it be letting them off too easily? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments snorted coldly. Why don't we fight to the death and use the bright universe and the ancient Tao origin world as our foundation? Moreover, if anyone dares to destroy our human race's territory, the higher-ups of our human race can also attack their territory. It's better than letting them off too easily. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments was filled with killing intent. Jiang Xi nodded slightly and made up his mind. He then smiled. Master, I have an idea. An idea? Master, my true body is stronger than my avatar, and I have a primordial spirit attack mystic art. This mystic art can target the primordial spirits of Tao Lords and cause them to fall into a daze. Jiang Xi gave a simple explanation of the primordial spirit attack techniques in Cloud Extinguisher. Tao Lord Nine Firmament's eyes lit up, but then he frowned. Once the battle begins, it's very unlikely that hundreds or thousands of Tao Lords will gather together. The range of your primordial spirit attack shouldn't be too large, right? Indeed, it isn't large. Jiang Xi nodded and smiled. That's why we need to give them a reason to gather together. If the battle begins, I can face them alone. That way, it's very likely that they'll gather together. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments shook his head repeatedly. That's not advisable. Let's not talk about whether or not the alliance of 10,000 races will join the alliance. Even if the alliance of 10,000 races joins the alliance, you won't be able to withstand their combined attack. Don't worry, Master. I'm confident. Jiang Xi smiled confidently. Confident? Master, do you still remember Triple Mountain? Are you talking about the incomplete supreme treasure with the ability to transform into armor? That's right. There's something I haven't told you. Actually, Triple Mountain is a part of Mount Xianhuang. I've already refined Mount Xianhuang by chance. After transforming into armor, this supreme treasure has reached the peak of Tier 9. It has both the functions of an armor supreme treasure and an primordial spirit supreme treasure. Therefore, even if 1,000 Tao Lords attack me, they won't be able to hurt me. Jiang Xi said confidently. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments was stunned. He stared at Jiang Xi with wide eyes, unable to calm down for a long time. For the usually calm Tao Lord Nine Firmaments, it was rare for him to be shocked for such a long time. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments shook his head and calmed down after a long time. Although the situation in the fourth universe was tense, the humans were still paying attention to the situation in the Chaos Sea. Therefore, he naturally knew about the disappearance of Mount Xianhuang not long ago. But he didn't expect that it was his disciple who did it. Mount Xianhuang was one of the 3 most dangerous lands in the Chaos Sea. It had stood in the Chaos Sea for a long time. Everyone knew that it was a legendary supreme treasure, and wanted to refine it. Over the endless years, even the 2 supremes had failed, but now, his disciple had succeeded? Jiang Xi played it down and said that he refined it by chance. What kind of opportunity was that? I don't understand you anymore. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments sighed. Haha, I'm Jiang Xi, Tao Lord Mountain Sea of the human race. I'm Master's disciple. Jiang Xi laughed. Alright, since you're so confident, we'll follow your plan and launch a counterattack. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments laughed. Master, the situation might be better than we expected, Jiang Xi said. Yes, let the Myriad Races Alliance choose whether to help us or the Alliance. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments nodded. Previously, he had been hesitating. After all, if they fought to the death, the development of the human race would definitely be very slow in the future. They would have to endure for a long time. The Tinder plan was definitely the worst plan. And although Jiang Xi's plan was crazy, he could fight hundreds or even thousands of Tao Lords alone, and an unknown number of Heavenly Venerables. But this was the primal universe. Even if Heavenly Venerables were invincible, it would be difficult for them to break through Jiang Xi's defenses. Therefore, this crazy plan could still be realized. Afterward, Tao Lord Nine Firmaments gathered the upper echelons of the human race to discuss this matter. Together with Heavenly Venerable Ming, he found Heavenly Venerable Purple Firmament in the Skyspan Mountain River diagram and discussed it. In the end, everyone agreed to the plan. Since that was the case, let's do it. Let's have a great battle. In the headquarters of the Myriad Races Alliance, a huge astral continent floated in the starry sky covered by golden waves. In the sky above the astral continent, more than 600 thrones were gathered. Each of them emitted a powerful aura. When these 600 auras gathered together, The power produced caused the surrounding spacetime to distort. The Tao Lords of the Myriad Races Alliance had been waiting for the humans' reply. Just now, the human emissary had come to reply. We humans are willing to bestow upon you the legacy information of Tao Lords cultivating to become heavenly venerables. This is the limit of what we can agree to. Whether you accept it or not, there is no need for further discussion. If you accept it, join our side and fight against the combined forces of the monsters and ghosts. The human emissary's reply was very straightforward. Whether you accept it or not is up to the Myriad Races Alliance to decide. This reply caused the 5 heavenly venerables and 683 Tao Lords of the Myriad Races Alliance to gather together and begin a discussion. This is the humans' reply. Everyone present should know. Even if there are a few who don't know, I'm sure you'll understand after speaking with the other Tao Lords. Even so, what should we choose? Everyone tell us. The humans are too arrogant. They don't take our Myriad Races Alliance seriously at all. Right now, in the entire 4th universe, our Myriad Races Alliance is the strongest. Without our help, they'll definitely be defeated. What exactly is the humans relying on? Given the current situation, how dare they be so arrogant and leave no way out? They're courting death. Immediately, some of the more irascible Tao Lords began to roar. Ever since the Myriad Races Alliance had been established, they felt that their status in the 4th universe had changed. They were no longer the races that needed to rely on peak races to survive, but the powerful Myriad Races Alliance. They were certain that the humans would definitely ask them for help, so they were filled with confidence. But this time, the humans' reply had greatly exceeded their expectations. These experts who had just turned the tables were naturally enraged. At this moment, not only were there Tao Lords roaring angrily, but there were also some Tao Lords conversing in secret. Kushinyu, what is your faction thinking? What are they thinking? Actually, for us Tao Lords, becoming heavenly venerables is what we need the most right now. As for becoming a peak heavenly venerate, that's too far away from us. In our Myriad Races Alliance, the ones who want to become peak heavenly venerables the most are probably the 5 heavenly venerables. If it's just us, the humans' offer is actually enough. I think so too. But the 5 heavenly venerables definitely won't agree so easily, especially Patriarch Demonheart. That's right. There are also some fellows who were once bullied by peak races and are now bursting with confidence. They think they're amazing now and are standing on Patriarch Demonheart's side. The 5 heavenly venerables led by Patriarch Demonheart sat atop the 5 black thrones at the very top, expressionless as they watched the many Tao Lords debate. Patriarch Demonheart swept his gaze across the densely packed figures and sneered in his heart. The Myriad Races Alliance seems enormous, but in truth, there are many factions within it, and it's very chaotic. Some races have life and death grudges against each other. It's only because of the pressure from these 2 factions that they agreed to form an alliance. Some of these factions are too radical and overconfident. Some are cowardly and still look up to peak races like they did in the past, not daring to offend them. Some are calm. Some are crafty. Patriarch Demonheart mused to himself, if I want the humans to hand over the legacies for reaching peak heavenly venerables, I'll have to make them all listen to me. I'll have them all stand on my side on this issue. Tao Lords had incredibly long lifespans, and this matter was of utmost importance. There were many factions within the Myriad Races Alliance, and some of them hated each other. Not even Patriarch Demonheart was able to control the arguments. After half a month of arguing, no one was able to come to a consensus. This sort of situation was a reflection of the various factions within the Myriad Races Alliance, as well as the hidden threat of power struggles. Aside from myself, there are 4 other heavenly venerables and so many Tao Lords. Quite a few of them are quite ambitious. The Myriad Races Alliance is such a powerful organization that there must be quite a few people who want to take control of it. Patriarch Demonheart very rarely expressed his opinions, and had been quietly observing the situation this entire time. However, the other celestial venerable, Empyrean Threefold, would often express his opinions and try to mediate the disputes between the factions that were too intense. All of you are correct. But you have to think about it. The humans once gave birth to an invincible figure like Empyrean Violet Firmament. They have an innate pride that is ingrained in their very bones. Now that their Tao Lord of the Mountains and Seas has acquired the legacy of 8 clouds, it's only natural that he'll become incredibly ambitious. How could they possibly hand over such an important legacy so easily? Empyrean Threefold said slowly. As soon as he said this, the Tao Lords who had been arguing with each other earlier all nodded. Most of their anger had dissipated. Patriarch Demonheart looked at the smiling Empyrean Threefold and thought to himself, it's time to have a chat with the humans. The internal debate within the Myriad Races Alliance continued. At the same time in the human territories, the Tao Alliance's Heavenly Court. Jiang Xi, Master. Jiang Xi met with Tao Lord Nina Firmaments. Return to Earth right now. The leader of the Myriad Races Alliance, Patriarch Demonheart, has sent a clone to descend upon Earth. Tao Lord Nina Firmaments instructed. Descend upon Earth? Jiang Xi frowned slightly. Patriarch Demonheart has come alone to negotiate with us humans. Right now, the Tao Alliance's Heavenly Court has gathered a large number of experts from the human camp. He's unwilling to reveal his identity, so he's come alone to negotiate. I feel that he has the intention of helping us humans, Tao Lord Nina Firmaments said with a smile. Master, you mean to say that he doesn't represent the Myriad Races Alliance but himself? Jiang Xi began to understand. That's right. Tao Lord Nina Firmaments nodded gently. All right, I'll go meet him. Jiang Xi immediately used the teleportation array to return to Earth. Earth was as peaceful as ever. This time, the war between the races of the Fourth Universe was completely between the pinnacle experts. It didn't affect the countless ordinary living beings on the life-bearing planets. On the wide streets of Earth, one could see warriors dressed in battle armor everywhere. There were also many universe merchants who were discussing business along the way. Skycut District? A figure dressed in long black and gold robes stood in front of the gates of the Skycut District in Pak Sun Province. At present, no one lived in the Skycut District. This was because this district had an extraordinary significance. The legendary human expert Jiang Xi had once lived here. Thus, the places where Jiang Xi had lived, including Apricot Garden, had all become sacred places and forbidden zones on Earth. There were warriors guarding them, and no one was allowed to trespass. However, this figure dressed in long black and gold robes stood there. The passers-by, as well as the guards, couldn't see him at all. Father, is this Jiang Xi's home? Yes, this is Jiang Xi's home. Haven't you been clamoring to come to Earth to see the greatest leader of our lineage? This time I've spent a lot of money to apply for a place to enter Earth. When we return to Changya Planet, you have to train hard in the dojo. That's for sure, Father. I also heard that Jiang Xi was born in the distant era of the Spirit Qi revival. At that time, Earth had many dilapidated cities and dangerous wilderness areas. I want to go and take a look too. Don't worry, we have enough time on Earth this time. We can see many scenic spots. A group of father and son with black hair, black eyes, and yellow skin looked at the Skycut District in the distance. After talking for a long time, they left. This kind of scene was very common. Many people came to visit every day. Early in the Spirit Qi revival era, Jiang Xi had already become a legendary figure on Earth. After the lineage of Earth entered the universe and reintegrated into the human race of the Tao Alliance, the people of Earth who wandered the universe benefited greatly because of Jiang Xi. This made them even more grateful and revered Jiang Xi. Now that tens of thousands of years had passed, almost everyone on Earth knew that Jiang Xi was one of the most powerful beings in the entire human race. Patriarch Demonheart. A voice sounded. The figure dressed in long black and gold robes also turned to look. A young man dressed in black armor walked over unhurriedly from the bustling crowd in the distance. The people around him couldn't see him, as if he was in another dimension. On this street, many people of Earth who had come from distant galaxies to see the traces of Jiang Xi's growth had no idea that Jiang Xi was walking past them. Jiang Xi, Patriarch Demonheart smiled. Here, calling you Jiang Xi should be more cordial than calling you Tao Lord of the Mountains and Seas, right? If you're a friend, it doesn't matter what you call me. If you're an enemy, calling me Tao Lord of the Mountains and Seas is more appropriate. Jiang Xi was neither servile nor overbearing. Aha, that makes sense. Patriarch Demonheart laughed. However, since you've chosen to meet here, it seems that you want to be friends with me? Jiang Xi raised his head and glanced at the Skyspan district, which hadn't changed for tens of thousands of years. I want to see how the most rapidly rising and talented young legendary expert of the human race rose to prominence. I want to see what kind of environment gave birth to him, Patriarch Demonheart said with a smile. His face was extremely handsome, and he looked like both a man and a woman. Although he was in human form, he was actually a special life form known as the Nightmare Tree. He didn't have any gender differences. Jiang Xi laughed as well. He was willing to listen to such pleasant words. Patriarch Demonheart suddenly turned serious. He looked at Jiang Xi and said solemnly, Jiang Xi, my purpose for coming here is very simple. Now, not only are the Fae and Ghost factions paying attention to this war, but also the final choice of our Myriad Races alliance. Even many factions in Chaos Sea are paying attention. It can be said that whichever side the Myriad Races alliance chooses to side with will definitely win. Jiang Xi nodded gently. Patriarch Demonheart continued. But now the Myriad Races alliance is divided. A portion of them wants to join the human race. Some want to join the human race while the other wants more information about the legacy. I'm the second group. I only have one purpose for coming here this time. You humans are to pass on the information about the Eight Clouds legacy that allows one to cultivate to the limits of the heavenly venerate realm. His words were very direct and straightforward. Riverward revealed a trace of a sneer. Don't be in a hurry to refuse, Patriarch Demonheart said with a smile. I'm only here to represent myself. In other words, I'm the only one who knows the legacy information you humans give me. I won't pass it on to any other expert of the Myriad Races Alliance. Moreover, I'll guide the experts under my control to make the Myriad Races Alliance join your side. You mean? Jiang Xi understood. Chapter 640. Yes, that's what I meant. The inheritance information you humans gave to the entire Myriad Races Alliance is still what you promised. As for those who cultivate to the limits of the heavenly venerate level, just give me one and I'll help you humans. Right now, the Myriad Races Alliance is divided into two factions, and I still have a lot of influence in the second faction. If I help you, this stalemate will soon end, and the Myriad Races Alliance will join your side. Furthermore, I'm not stupid. After I obtain it, I naturally won't pass it on to other experts. Wouldn't that be nurturing enemies? Patriarch Demonheart stared into Jiang Xi's eyes. What do you or your human race think? Jiang Xi was tempted. If he only passed on the experience of cultivating to the limits of the heavenly venerate level in the Eight Clouds legacy to Patriarch Demonheart, he wouldn't be worried. Unless Patriarch Demonheart was truly stupid, he wouldn't have to worry about him passing it on to others. Just by passing it on to him, I'll be able to exchange it for 683 Dao Lords? Jiang Xi calculated in his heart. Although the crazy plan he had prepared was powerful, it was also very risky. It wasn't that he would be in danger, but that he might not be able to kill so many Dao Lords at once. After all, with the strength of his primordial spirit, the range of his primordial spirit attack from Cloud Extinguisher was limited. Once the crazy plan failed, the war would be in the worst possible situation. But if the Myriad Races Alliance joined the human side, then there would be no risk at all. Wait a moment, Jiang Xi said. At the same time, Jiang Xi's spiritual consciousness entered the Skyspan Mountain River painting, and met with Venerable Ming and Dao Lord Nine Firmaments. That's his request. Give him the information of cultivating to the limits of the heavenly venerate level in the Eight Clouds legacy, and he'll help us. Jiang Xi briefly recounted the conversation. Venerable Ming Master, what do you think? He finally asked. Just him. Venerable Ming pondered. Right now there are two voices in the Myriad Races Alliance. One is willing to join us, while the other is unwilling and wants more. Patriarch Demonheart is the leader of the second voice. If he helps us, the Myriad Races Alliance's opinion will be unified. It's fine to just give him one. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments nodded in the end. A powerhouse at the limits of an Empyrean won't be able to affect the bigger picture in the primal universe. The inheritance information we give him can be as brief as possible. He doesn't know what kind of inheritance we have. Even if we tell him that this is what we got, what can he do? Venerable Ming smiled. Jiang Xi also nodded. They were the three titans of the human race. After a brief discussion, they all felt that the price of 683 Dao Lords joining them was a deal that they could agree to. Moreover, we gave him a portion before the war and another portion after the war, Jiang Xi said with a smile. Give him a portion before the war to make him envious. After the war, give him another portion. Even if he feels that the latter portion is too simple, the war is already over. So what if he regrets it? Yes, that's it then. You can agree to his request. The three of them quickly came up with a plan. Dao Lord 9 Firmaments had even contacted Heavenly Sovereign Purple Firmaments once and received her approval. Firstly, it was only for one person. Secondly, even if Patriarch Demon Heart received a brief inheritance information, it would be very difficult for him to cultivate to the limits of a heavenly venerable Earth. The human race has already discussed and agreed to this deal. Jiang Xi looked at Patriarch Demon Heart. Patriarch Demon Heart heaved a sigh of relief and smiled. Before the war, the human race will give you 1/3 of the inheritance information. If the Myriad Races Alliance joins the human camp to fight, we will give you the other 2/3 after the war. Sure. When will you give me the first 1/3? Very soon. All right. When I receive the first 1/3 of the inheritance information, I will quickly urge the Myriad Races Alliance to join the human camp. Patriarch Demon Heart nodded. The deal was very straightforward. There was no need to beat around the bush. The human race did indeed obtain a portion of the inheritance information on the same day, and handed it to Patriarch Demon Heart. After reading it, he was immediately excited. Just this portion of the information was enough to move him. This made Patriarch Demon Heart look forward to the remaining 2/3 even more. However, he had to wait until the war was over. The upper echelons of the human race were also waiting anxiously. It's been so long. Now that Patriarch Demon Heart has received the inheritance information, he won't refuse to help us, right? Don't worry. Patriarch Demon Heart spent so much effort to create the Myriad Races Alliance and become its leader. Isn't it all for the inheritance to cultivate to the limits of the Empyrean level? He definitely won't give up the remaining 2/3 of the inheritance information. Even so, Jiang Xi venerated Ming, and Dao Lord 9 Firmaments were still worried that something unexpected would happen. After all, the Myriad Races Alliance was a superpower with many powerhouses. Even with Patriarch Demon Heart's help, there was no guarantee that they would succeed. Half a month passed quickly. Patriarch Demon Heart finally sent news. The Myriad Races Alliance has reached a consensus. They have decided to join the human camp. The human camp's powerhouses were gathered in the Dao Alliance's heavenly court. The monster and ghost camp's gathering point was in the Dark Origin Mystic Realm. The Dark Origin Mystic Realm was an extremely dangerous mystic realm in the 4th universe. It was located in the star field where the monster and ghost territories intersected. At this moment, there was an enormous temple floating in the air above the Dark Origin continent within the mystic realm. Nearly half of the peak powerhouses of the 4th universe were gathered within the temple. They were together, enjoying fine wine and delicacies. If it weren't for the Myriad Races Alliance, our combined strength would be nothing compared to the puny humans. The Myriad Races Alliance? They're so loose. They've only come together because of the pressure from the other two camps. Once this war is over, just wait and see. They'll definitely be embroiled in internal strife by now. They'll be no match for us at all. If we work together, we'll have many 7th grade treasures and the 8th grade treasures of the 2 celestial exalts. We'll definitely be able to unleash our full power. Even if the Myriad Races Alliance and the human camp join forces, we still have a chance at victory. Right. These vassal Dao Lords who had joined the dire monster and the ghost race were all chatting amongst themselves. They talked about the war between the races, the Chaos Sea, and other powerhouses. Just as they were chatting happily, Celestial Exalt Allfiend and Celestial Exalt Yendu suddenly stood up at the same time. Everyone. Celestial Exalt Allfiend's voice was filled with anger. All the alien Dao Lords in the hall turned their gazes towards him. What is it? What's going on? Why are the Celestial Exalts so angry? Celestial Exalt Yendu said in a low voice. We just received word that the Myriad Races Alliance has reached a consensus and decided to join the human camp. What? Join the human camp? Not good. The alien Downlords all turned pale. Although they had been chatting, none of them were fools. As Downlords, they were no fools. Prior to this, they had been confident in their ability to defeat the human camp. However, if the Myriad Races Alliance really did join forces with the human camp, their chances of victory would be far, far lower. Celestial exalts, we need to move out right away. No, we need to move out right now. A Supreme Universe Downlord in beast form let out a low growl. The other alien Downlords all looked towards Celestial Exalt Allfiend and Celestial Exalt Yendu. There's no time for that. Let's join forces. We need to move out right away and attack the core regions of the human race. Right. Let's move out right away. The Myriad Races Alliance has only just reached a consensus. They probably haven't received any of the legacies the humans have given them yet. Let's take advantage of the fact that they haven't joined forces and attack the core regions of the human race. The Tao Alliance's Celestial Court. The battle between the two camps will only last for a short period of time. By the time the Myriad Races Alliance arrives, the battle might already be over. Speed is paramount in war. Let's seize every second we have. Virtually all of the alien Downlords in the hall came to the same decision. All of them understood that if they waited until the Myriad Races Alliance and the human camp joined forces, this battle would become very difficult to win. This battle was filled with many variables. Only by ending the battle as quickly as possible would they be able to eliminate all of them. We have to move quickly. We have to end this battle as quickly as possible. Celestial Exalt Allfiend and Celestial Exalt Yendu exchanged a glance. They were frantic as well. They knew that once the Myriad Races Alliance came to a decision, they would immediately head towards the Tao Alliance's Celestial Court. Given the speed of Supreme Downlords and the use of teleportation arrays, they would probably arrive soon. Thus, it would be far too difficult for them to end the battle before the Myriad Races Alliance arrived. However, they had to do this. This was the only way they could possibly win. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The experts in the hall immediately sprang into action. Naturally, they moved quite quickly. A flying treasure that looked like a palace and a flying vessel simultaneously appeared in the tenebrous secret realm. These two treasures belonged to Empyrean Allfiend and Empyrean Yendu respectively. They each led close to 200 Downlords. What we need to do in this battle is to attack the Human Tao Alliance's Celestial Court. Then we'll work together to crush the human camp and wipe out their remaining forces. Everyone, for the sake of our race, for the sake of our future, let's go to the Human Tao Alliance's Celestial Court. As Empyrean Allfiend's voice echoed throughout the hall, the two flying treasures of the Allied camp simultaneously teleported away. The reason the Allied camp hadn't taken the initiative to attack was because they were waiting for the Myriad Races Alliance to make a decision. After all, if they attacked the humans before the Myriad Races Alliance had made a decision, the Myriad Races Alliance would definitely be furious. If the Allied camp did so, the Myriad Races Alliance would lose all of their benefits. They would probably quickly join the human camp. They had been afraid of forcing the Myriad Races Alliance to join the human camp and thus hadn't dared to act. Now that the Myriad Races Alliance had made a decision, they naturally didn't need to worry about such things. At the same time, in the human territories, the Tao Alliance's Celestial Court, within Nina Firmament's palace, the human experts were all gathered here, chatting and laughing with each other. Now that the situation had taken a turn for the better, they felt much more relaxed. The Myriad Races Alliance has already agreed to join us. Soon they'll all arrive. Once they do, we'll definitely win this battle. The Monster and Ghost Alliance will have no chance of victory at all. Haha. Everyone was waiting for the 5 Empyreans and hundreds of Downlords of the Myriad Races Alliance to arrive. Will the Allied camp receive word of this and seize this opportunity to attack us? Downlord Longwall suddenly asked. Instantly, the hall fell silent for a moment. Probably not. This was the decision of the highest echelon of the Myriad Races Alliance. Only the Downlords and above know of this, as it concerns their personal interests. They immediately notified us as soon as they made their decision. Would they be so stupid as to notify the Allied camp? Unless they had no intention of receiving the legacy at all. Downlord Flamespeak laughed. Almost as soon as he finished speaking. Not good. Tao Lord Nina Firmament's face turned pale as he suddenly called out, "Assemble immediately! All Tao Lords assemble immediately! Prepare for battle!" His voice rumbled, echoing throughout the entire Tao Alliance heavenly court. All of the 100+ Tao Lords in the human camp heard him. Within the hall, the faces of Jiang Xi, Empyrean Bright, and the other human experts turned pale as well. They knew that the situation was dire. Tao Lord Nina Firmament said with a grave expression, "Through the skyspan diagram, Empyrean Violet Firmament discovered that the Monster and Ghost Alliance have already set up a large-scale teleportation formation and are hurrying towards our human territory. Given their speed, they'll arrive here soon. We don't have much time left. All of the experts in our human camp must assemble immediately. Jiang Xi, if the situation looks bad, we'll carry out your crazy plan for now." "Understood." Jiang Xi nodded. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. One figure after another began to appear within the hall. They were the alien Tao Lords who had joined the human camp. When Jiang Xi saw this, he wasted no time. With a wave of his hand, a 9-storied pagoda rapidly expanded to stand tall within the hall. At this juncture, he no longer cared if he would expose Skyspan Tower. Moreover, given his current strength, there was no need for him to hide anything. He could use all of his methods without worry. Jiang Xi shouted, "This is the Tier 7 flying treasure Skyspan Tower. Everyone, please enter and prepare for battle." "Alright. A Tier 7 flying treasure. Hurry up and enter." The alien Tao Lords were shocked, especially those who had just joined the human camp. They had never seen such a high-grade treasure before. This boosted their confidence. As long as they hid within the Tier 7 flying treasure, they would be unafraid of almost all of the enemy's attacks. If they could not hold on during the battle, they could hide within the treasure. At the very least, they would be able to preserve their lives. Whoosh! 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 The alien Tao Lords transformed into streaks of light and flew into Skyspan Tower. Once everyone had entered, Tao Lord Nina Firmaments heaved a sigh of relief. No matter what, the preparations had been made. They were ready to fight at any time. Then, he sent a voice transmission to the 100-odd Tao Lords in Skyspan Tower. "Everyone, the Alliance of the Demons and Ghosts has suddenly attacked. They should be here soon. The Alliance is far stronger than us, but don't worry. I have another piece of good news for everyone. The Myriad Races Alliance has agreed to join the human camp. We just need to endure for a while, and we'll be able to win this battle." "The Myriad Races Alliance is joining as well? Haha, don't worry. We promise to fight to the death." The 100-odd alien Tao Lords spoke one after another. They were already tied to the human camp and naturally would not back down. "What do we need to do now?" At that moment, 2 more figures appeared in the hall. One was an elf girl in green robes. The other was a special life form, Fire Spirit Mountain. Although he was in human form, his body was covered in a layer of rock that emitted red flames. These 2 were Heavenly Venerable Lu and Heavenly Venerable Lai Shan. "Wait!" Heavenly Venerable Ming said in a deep voice. "That's right. Senior Lu, Senior Lai Shan, you just need to be ready to attack at any time," Jiang Xi said. "Alright." Heavenly Venerable Lu and Heavenly Venerable Lai Shan did not say anything else. At the same time, Tao Lord 9 Firmament's voice echoed throughout the entire heavenly court. "All tribulation transcenders and true monarchs, immediately leave through the teleportation platform." Instantly, the servants and immortal soldiers in the heavenly court began to evacuate in an orderly manner upon hearing this order. In less than a minute, they had all left the heavenly court through the southern heavenly gates teleportation platform. "Let's set off as well," Tao Lord 9 Firmaments ordered. "Let's go." Jiang Xi and the others nodded. Next, apart from Jiang Xi, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments, Heavenly Venerable Ming, Heavenly Venerable Lu, and Heavenly Venerable Lai Shan all flew into Skyspan Tower. More than 6,000 light-years away from the heavenly court, 2 flying treasures belonging to the Alliance of the Demons and Ghosts suddenly teleported over. "We're already close to the heavenly court of the Human Tao Alliance. We'll arrive after teleporting once more. Everyone, prepare for battle." Heavenly Venerable Myriad Fiend's cold voice echoed throughout the starry sky. Whoosh! The 2 flying supreme treasures silently disappeared from this part of the starry sky again. In the next moment they appeared in the heavenly court of the Tao Alliance, shrouded in dense immortal qi. Floating islands floated in the sky. The heavenly court had been bustling with activity, but now it was deserted. Only a single 9-story tower stood above the countless palaces. Why isn't there a single human here? It's empty. There are no living beings. We can't even find outsiders. As soon as they arrived, Celestial Venerable Myriad Fiend and Celestial Venerable Yen Du were shocked to discover that the core area of the Human Tao Alliance seemed to have become a land of death. Not a single living being could be found. This was the situation they had been most worried about. That 9-story tower should belong to Tao Lord Mountain Sea. It appeared in the 8 cloud ruins before. Celestial Venerable Myriad Fiend's gaze landed on Skyspan Tower. I remember that the news from the 8 cloud ruins said that this tower was suspected to be a 7th grade flying treasure. Celestial Venerable Yendu said in a low voice. A 7th grade flying treasure might be sturdy, but we can still shake it. What I'm afraid of is that our attacks won't be able to defeat them in a short period of time. Celestial Venerable Myriad Fiend snorted angrily. That's what I'm afraid of. If they continue to hide like this, they'll be able to stall until the Myriad Races Alliance arrives. Celestial Venerable Yendu was worried as well. Damn it! Damned humans! How did they know we were on the move? We were so fast. They should have been caught off guard. The alien Tao Lords of the allied factions were furious as well. Let's attack first. I refuse to believe that 2 Celestial Venerables and 389 Tao Lords working together won't be able to shake this tower. Celestial Venerable Myriad Fiend growled. Attack! Wipe out the humans! Crush the human faction! Instantly, the experts in the 2 flying treasures of the Monster Clan and the Ghost Clan began to use all kinds of powerful attacks. Countless secret arts took form, each of them enormous and emanating terrifying auras that covered an area of 100 light-years around the heavenly court of the Tao Alliance. The target of their attacks was the 9-story tower. Boom! 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 Attacks that blotted out the skies came crashing down upon the tower at almost the exact same moment. Whoosh! Stellar rivers exploded as the heavens and the earth rumbled. Countless spatial fragments surged out from the void, forming chaotic streams of space. The extravagant palaces and immortal islands of the Tao Alliance's heavenly court were all shattered and transformed into dust. Buzz! 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 Those powerful secret arts wanted to pierce through the barriers of the treasures and attack the experts of the human faction. In the end, when everything finally calmed down, the Heavenspan Tower remained completely unscathed. They withstood it? How is that possible? So many of us joined forces. That attack just now was backed by 4 7th grade offensive treasures. They definitely should have been able to pierce through the barriers of the flying treasures and injure, or even kill the Tao Lords inside. Celestial Venerable Myriad Fiend, Celestial Venerable Yendu, and the other experts of the allied factions were all shocked and in disbelief. Their all-out attacks hadn't been able to cause any damage to the human faction at all. All they had done was destroy the Tao Alliance's heavenly court. However, even if they destroyed 10,000 Tao Alliance heavenly courts, it would be useless. So long as the human experts were still alive, given how wealthy the humans were, they would be able to instantly rebuild one. Within the treasures of the Heavenspan Tower, the experts of the human faction all let out sighs of relief. If they had been outside, half of them would have perished under the terrifying attack that had covered the sky and earth. The allied factions had nearly 400 Tao Lords in total, after all. The human faction, however, only had 100 or so Tao Lords. The difference in power was simply too great. Fortunately, they had managed to block it. Only Zhang Xiai had a calm look on his face. Others didn't know how powerful the Heavenspan Tower was, but as the owner of the treasure, he naturally did. In the primal universe, even if 10 times or 100 times the number of enemies came, they still wouldn't be able to breach the Heavenspan Tower. If that's the case, then all we need to do is wait. Wait for the alliance of myriad races to arrive. Tao Lord Nina Firmaments glanced at Zhang Xiai, finding it increasingly difficult to understand this disciple of his. This 9-story pagoda was another powerful supreme treasure unknown to the human race. Chapter 641. At the same time, in the headquarters of the Myriad Races Alliance, above the starry sky continent surrounded by golden waves, the 683 Tao Lords and 5 heavenly venerables of the Myriad Races Alliance were all sitting on those thrones. They had just come to a consensus and were waiting for the inheritance information of the Tao Lords that the humans had promised. Patriarch Demonheart sat on the highest black throne with a smile on his face. He was very pleased with himself. I used the Myriad Races Alliance's power to force the humans. Then, I secretly contacted the humans and asked for the inheritance. After some planning, I easily obtained the inheritance information of the peak heavenly venerables. Thinking of this, Patriarch Demonheart became even more pleased with himself. In fact, ever since Zhang Xiai obtained 8 Clouds' inheritance, Patriarch Demonheart knew that there was bound to be a great upheaval in the 4th universe. The increasingly powerful humans would have more and more conflicts with the other races in the 4th universe. There might even be a huge storm. Therefore, from then on, he began to secretly make arrangements to befriend the Tao Lords of the top races. The Tao Lords of the top races were inferior to the peak races. They naturally wanted to befriend heavenly venerables. Therefore, Patriarch Demonheart quickly set up a huge network of connections. However, what surprised him was that the Demon Clan and the Ghost Clan would suddenly start a war without any warning. According to his estimation, it would take at least 1,000,000 years or even an epoch for the war to break out. However, he didn't think too much about it, and immediately set out to establish the Myriad Races Alliance. What surprised him even more was that the process of establishing the alliance was surprisingly smooth. It seemed that there were no obstacles at all. The Myriad Races Alliance was established with 194 top races as the core. Patriarch Demonheart could guess that the forces of the Chaos Sea must have interfered. After all, the news that the humans in the 2nd and 3rd universes were almost wiped out had already spread. As a heavenly venerate, he naturally knew this news, so it wasn't difficult to guess the connection behind it. You want to wipe out the humans in the various universes? It has nothing to do with me. The authority of the alliance of 10,000 races is useless to me. I only seek freedom and true immortality. Patriarch Demonheart was filled with ambition. He was a heavenly venerate who didn't like to participate in the disputes between factions. He didn't like power this time. He established the alliance of 10,000 races just to use it as a bargaining chip to exchange for the inheritance information he needed from the human race. Now that the alliance of 10,000 races had reached a consensus and decided to join the human race, he had achieved a small part of his goal. He had already obtained 1/3 of the inheritance information for cultivating to the limits of an Empyrean. As for the other 4 heavenly venerates, Patriarch Demonheart had only taken out a small portion of the original 1/3 in order to keep them in check. This was more than enough. He would definitely make a profit. At this moment, Patriarch Demonheart was holding a communication bead, waiting for a message from the human race. He had obtained the inheritance information he wanted, but the other experts of the Myriad Races Alliance had not. Only after the other experts acquired the legacies on how to break through from the Tao Lord level to the Empyrean level would they be considered to have truly joined the human alliance. At this moment, a message came from the communication bead. The smile on Patriarch Demonheart's face grew even wider. But in the next moment it disappeared, replaced by a solemn and furious look. He swept his gaze across the crowd and shouted angrily, "Everyone, just now we've reached a consensus. But now the allied forces of the monster race and the ghoul race have actually reached the heavenly court of the human Tao Alliance." His angry shout reverberated through every inch of space in the entire astral continent. The many Tao Lords who had been chatting and laughing were instantly dumbfounded. Why would the allied forces suddenly attack? We just came to an agreement. This is too much of a coincidence. Who was it that spread the news? Didn't they know that doing so would cause us to lose the inheritance information we were about to obtain? Who leaked it? The Tao Lords were instantly enraged. The angriest of all was Patriarch Demonheart, because this could very well ruin his plans. Clearly, one of us must have leaked the news. Patriarch Demonheart's cold gaze swept across the many Tao Lords present. This is destroying the hopes of all Tao Lords for breaking through in the future. This is unforgivable. Of course, perhaps one of us accidentally leaked the information while chatting with a disciple or a friend. There's no need to fuss over this for now. The human alliance is relying on the might of the Supreme Treasure to resist the Allied forces' attacks. Therefore, the situation hasn't worsened. What we need to do now is immediately head to the human territory and join the human alliance. Patriarch Demon Heart made a prompt decision. Agreed. Agreed. Let's head out right now. None of the experts present can be missing. Anyone who doesn't go will be suspected of leaking the information. Some of the Tao Lords were furious that their hopes of breaking through to become celestial exalts had been destroyed. They looked at everyone as though they were the ones who had leaked the information. Soon 5 flying supreme treasures emanating powerful auras appeared in the skies above the astral continent. Immediately afterwards, an enormous teleportation array appeared out of nowhere and teleported them away. Although they were an alliance, the internal strife between the various factions was quite severe. Some of the top-tier clans had mortal enmity with each other, and were naturally unwilling to stay together. Thus they had split into 5 squads. Each squad had more than 100 Tao Lords and was led by a lone celestial exalt. One could imagine how powerful such an enormous organization was. The human territory. The Tao Alliance's celestial court. A 9-story tower towered in the void. Off in the distance, 2 6th-grade supreme treasures were scattered. The Tao Lords within them were wildly attacking with abandon. The earth-shattering momentum caused the void to turn into a spatial torrent that crashed onto the heavenly tower with a rumble. Whoosh! Boom! 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 Although the Skypiercer was trembling slightly, it seemed to have taken root and remained standing in the void. It wasn't sent flying. This caused the experts of the Alliance to feel extremely stunned. We have so many Tao Lords, 2 celestial exalts, and 4 7th-grade supreme treasures. Even with such a powerful alliance, we still aren't able to send that 9-story tower flying. Can it be that the 100+ Tao Lords of the human alliance are all helping to stabilize that flying supreme treasure? This 9-story tower is controlled by Tao Lord Mountain C. He received the 8 Clouds legacy. Indeed, all sorts of strange things can happen. Perhaps this is one of the techniques of the 8 Clouds legacy. It seems we'll have to fight a war of attrition. Once the Myriad Races Alliance arrives, we'll be in trouble. No matter what, we can't give up on this battle. Even if it isn't for the legacy, we can't just watch as the humans grow stronger. We've joined forces. If we let the humans roam free and unfettered, that would be a huge joke. Some of the experts of the Alliance were furious, while others were helpless. Soon the attacks came to a halt. They knew very well that continuing to attack like this would be a waste of energy. Within the supreme treasure space of Skirich Tower. Send Skirich Tower flying? Zhang Xi's expression was calm. Even if they were in the Chaos Sea and a 3rd-step Celestial Exalted was unable to do anything to Skirich Tower, these Tao Lords were nothing. Let's wait. Once the Myriad Races Alliance arrives, we'll win. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments said softly. Zhang Xi and the other experts of the human race nodded gently as well. This was especially true for Zhang Xi. He knew very well that although Skirich Tower was unshakable, it was still restricted by the laws of heaven and earth of the primal universe. He was unable to unleash its full power. Be it supreme treasures or living beings, they all had to abide by the laws of the limits of Tao Lords. Without the help of the Myriad Races Alliance, the alliance of the Yao and Ghoul races could completely trap Skirich Tower, and the human alliance forever. To be precise, the alliance had close to 400 Tao Lords. They only needed to leave behind 70 to 80% of their experts to suppress the human alliance. As for the other Tao Lords, they could take turns and head to the Chaos Sea to increase their strength at any time. They could also take away the territory of the human race and restrict their development. Under such circumstances, the alien Tao Lords who had joined the human alliance would probably not be able to hold on. They might even leave the alliance directly. This way, the human alliance would become weaker and weaker until they had no power to resist. If that's really the case, then I can only resort to a crazy plan. The only problem was that this plan was too risky. If it failed, they would not be able to wipe out the alliance's strength and would not have a second chance. At that time, the human race would still be in great danger. Jiang Xi looked through Skirich Tower at the two flying supreme treasures that were far apart in the starry sky outside clearly. The Yao and Ghoul races were also very cautious and did not gather together. That's why it's up to the Myriad Races Alliance. With their participation, the Human Alliance will have a great advantage. Jiang Xi thought. Oh. At this moment Jiang Xi, Dao Lord Nine Firmaments, Celestial Venerable Ming, Celestial Venerable Lu, Celestial Venerable Lai Shan, and the other Dao Lords in Skirich Tower sensed the space-time ripples outside and immediately grew excited. The two flying supreme treasures of the Dao Alliance's celestial court were like war fortresses that had become incomparably large. However, they were very far apart from each other. They're here. The Myriad Races Alliance has arrived. The experts of the Yao and Ghoul Races Alliance sensed the space-time ripples as well. Their expressions changed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly 5 flying supreme treasures of different shapes appeared out of nowhere in the starry sky, each emanating a towering aura. Clearly, the experts of the Myriad Races Alliance had intentionally spread this aura, in order to show off their might as the strongest power in the 4th universe. Humans, we've arrived. We'll decide the outcome of this battle. Loud laughter and roars rang out from the 5 flying supreme treasures one after another, echoing throughout the starry sky. Myriad Races Alliance, please act quickly. We'll join forces and repel the alliance. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments responded on behalf of the Human Alliance. No rush. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments, don't be hasty. You humans haven't given us the inheritance you promised. According to our agreement, you'll give us a portion before the battle, and another portion after the battle. Now, please take out a portion of the inheritance. We'll examine it and verify it. Once we've verified it, we'll naturally help you. Otherwise, it'll be difficult for us to act. Yes, that's the principle. Take out a portion of the inheritance first. The leaders of the various factions within the Myriad Races Alliance all said the same thing. Jiang Xi, Venerated Ming, Dao Lord Nine Firmaments, and the other human experts exchanged glances, then nodded. Soon, everyone gathered in the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram. Within the mountain-river diagram, there was a stone table floating in the starry sky. Jiang Xi, Venerated Ming, and Dao Lord Nine Firmaments sat on one side. On the other side were the 5 celestial venerates of the Myriad Races Alliance and the representatives of the various factions. Due to the human race's permission, their spiritual senses could also enter the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram. This is a fair trade. Now that we haven't seen the inheritance, the Myriad Races Alliance won't help us for free. Patriarch Demonheart laughed. According to our agreement before the battle, you'll have to provide us with a portion of the inheritance that allowed Dao Lords to become celestial venerates. Now, please allow us to view that portion of the inheritance. Only then can we confirm that you aren't fooling us. Only then will we agree to join you and help you deal with the allied faction. Celestial Venerate Sanchi said in a low voice. Everyone, there's no need to worry. The inheritance has been prepared long ago. You can view it now. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments nodded. All right. That's good. The experts of the Myriad Races Alliance all spoke out. Then let's begin. Everyone take a careful look. We humans never cheat. Dao Lord Nine Firmaments laughed. Immediately after, he displayed the portion of the inheritance he had prepared in the starry sky. All sorts of runes, diagrams, and other things flowed in a mysterious manner in the starry sky. The heavenly venerates of the Myriad Races Alliance, as well as the Dao Lords who were the leaders of the factions, looked over seriously and studied it carefully. Even Patriarch Demonheart was watching curiously. Although he was already a heavenly venerate, he was still muddle-headed when he broke through to become a heavenly venerate. He had no systematic experience at all. Upon seeing this, Jiang Xi, heavenly venerate Sanchi, and Dao Lord Nine Firmaments exchanged glances and nodded slightly. They were filled with confidence. This was especially so for Jiang Xi. This was the inheritance information he had meticulously prepared. Although it was much simpler and had omitted many important points, it was still within the Myriad Races Alliance. However, no matter what, this was chosen from the vast number of inheritance stones in the 8 Clouds inheritance. No matter how simplified it was It was many times better than the inheritances of the various factions in the Chaos Sea. In the entire Chaos Sea, only the 2 sacred grounds might have inheritances that allowed one to break through from Tao Lord to Heavenly Venerate. The other factions were all trying to cross the river by feeling their way through. They did not know the correct way to become a Heavenly Venerate. Jiang Xi believed that the inheritance information he had compiled would definitely leave any Tao Lord stunned. Furthermore, they would be filled with desire for the remaining inheritance information. Therefore, he was not afraid that the Myriad Races Alliance would not help the human race. There's a lot of information. Even with the strength of a Tao Lord's essence soul, it will take a while to finish reading it all. Jiang Xi sent a voice transmission. Then let's wait a little longer. We're all in Skypiercer Tower now. The Alliance can't do anything to us. There's no harm in waiting a little longer, Tao Lord 9 Firmament said with a smile. Once the Myriad Races Alliance joins us, we'll definitely win this battle. Heavenly Venerate Sanchi was also smiling. The 3 of them were not the only ones waiting. The other experts in the human camp were also waiting anxiously. Time passed by the minute and second. Instead, it was the experts of the Fae and Ghost factions who were getting impatient. Why is there still no movement? Are we just going to wait here? Don't be anxious. Previously, when the Myriad Races Alliance made their decision, we immediately took action. Therefore, they probably didn't have time to obtain the inheritance information from the human race. Now that they're here, they must have seen the inheritance information before deciding whether to join us. I expect that they're currently analyzing the information, Empyrean Demoness said. We absolutely can't act rashly right now. If we attack in advance, there's a very high chance that we'll enrage the Myriad Races Alliance and push them towards the human camp. Empyrean Yendu nodded as well. Can it be that the 2 Empyreans believe that the Myriad Races Alliance still has a chance of joining us? A Tao Lord asked boldly. The chances are slim, but if we attack now, there'll be no hope. Let's wait a little longer. There might be a chance, Empyrean Demoness said. The other alien Tao Lords all exchanged glances. They had already calculated many times. It was impossible for the Myriad Races Alliance to join them. A chance? There's still one more chapter to go. Chapter 642. The Tao Alliance's celestial court was the core of the human domain, and the human domain was the core of the 4th universe. It could be said that this was the central region of the 4th universe. At this moment the cosmos was extremely quiet. 8 colossal objects stood there quietly. They were the Skypiercer Tower of the human camp, the 2 flying-type true treasures of the allied camp, and the 5 flying-type true treasures of the Myriad Races Alliance. All of them were filled with Tao Lords and above. More than 90% of the Tao Lords of the 4th universe, and almost all of the celestial venerables were gathered here. Each of them had the power to destroy spacetime with a flip of their hand. They could easily establish a powerful top-tier race. And now they were all gathered here for a great battle. This battle would affect the future of the 4th universe and change the power structure of the entire universe. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done as well. The 5 flying-type true treasures of the Myriad Races Alliance leaned against each other. The representatives who had been sent out to check the legacy information didn't communicate within the Skypiercer diagram. Instead, they communicated with their spiritual senses outside. We've studied this part of the inheritance information. Everyone tell us, what do you think of the inheritance information? A deep voice sounded. It's all right. It's somewhat useful. This is the 8 Clouds legacy that all the major powers of the Chaos Sea are going crazy over? Why is the legacy information for becoming an celestial venerable so simple? It's too ordinary. A few of the 5 celestial venerables of the Myriad Races Alliance shook their heads. Most of the leaders of the various factions shook their heads as well. Some were disdainful. Everyone, make your decision. Do you choose to join the human camp now? Or do you choose to support me? The deep voice continued. Celestial Venerable Sanchi, do you even need to ask? I support you. Haha. Everyone knows what to choose now. Celestial Venerable Sanchi, you are the most suitable leader of the Myriad Races Alliance. Of course, you have to keep your promise. Celestial Venerable Sanchi, the legacy information you provided us is even more detailed than the humans. We naturally support you. Yes, the legacy you provided greatly increases our chances of becoming celestial venerables. We support you. The leaders of the various factions of the Myriad Races Alliance were surprisingly united in their opinions. Exalted Celestial Trinity sent a mental message. Alright, then let's follow the second plan we came up with. We'll continue to make requests of the humans. If they agree, we will join the human race. If they still don't show any sincerity, then everyone should know what to do, right? Understood. Let's follow this plan. The leaders of the major factions of the Alliance of 10,000 Races and the three Heaven Venerables on their own answered. They had already discussed this. The plan that Celestial Lord Sanchi had come up with was very harsh for the human race. However, it was absolutely in line with the common interests of the Alliance of 10,000 Races. Of course, they would not object. After all, only an alliance with the same interests would be the most united and stable. Inside the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, in front of the stone table in the starry sky, Jiang Xi, Venerated Ming, and Tao Lord Nine Firmaments were all looking at the experts of the Myriad Races Alliance, waiting for their reply. I will represent the Myriad Races Alliance. A heavenly venerable with 3 heads and a body covered in blue snake scales suddenly spoke. Jiang Xi and the other 2 were all surprised. However, the leader of the Alliance of 10,000 Races, Patriarch Demonheart, was rather taken aback. He hurriedly turned to look at the other heavenly venerables and the leaders of the various factions. That's right. The Alliance of 10,000 Races is now represented by Celestial Lord Sanchi. That's right. Celestial Lord Sanchi is our leader. The other experts of the Alliance of 10,000 Races all spoke out. Patriarch Demonheart's expression instantly turned very ugly. His true body in the real world immediately sent a mental message to the Tao Lords under his command, wanting to understand the situation. In truth, Patriarch Demonheart had noticed when Celestial Lord Sanchi and the other experts had been communicating through their spiritual senses. However, those experts hadn't spoken to him mentally, so he didn't know what they were talking about. In addition, spiritual sense communication was fast to begin with. It was settled in just a few seconds. Although he was puzzled, he didn't have the time to ask any questions. Celestial Lord Sanchi had suddenly said that he represented the entire Alliance of 10,000 Races. Patriarch, we indeed all have Celestial Lord Sanchi as our representative. Lord Celestial, I'm very sorry. This involves our own interests. After the negotiations are over, we'll explain the situation to you in detail. Patriarch, the Tao Lords who had been close to him all said the same thing. Patriarch Demonheart was instantly filled with anger. However, there was nothing he could do. After all, these Tao Lords were his foundation in the Alliance of 10,000 Races. They were also the group of Tao Lords who had the best relationship with him. At the same time, Jiang Xi, Celestial Lord Ming, and Tao Lord Nine Firmaments exchanged glances within the Skyspan Mountains River diagram. They also realized that Patriarch Demonheart and the other heavenly venerables hadn't spoken out against it. Clearly, the Alliance of 10,000 Races truly was represented by Celestial Lord Sanchi. Celestial Lord Sanchi? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments smiled. Please speak. We've already seen the information you gave us regarding your legacies. Celestial Lord Sanchi's 3 heads looked at the 3 human experts. Then, he said in a cold voice, unfortunately, we're not satisfied. The faces of Jiang Xi, Celestial Lord Ming, and Tao Lord Nine Firmaments all changed. Not satisfied. Jiang Xi frowned. He had personally organized this information. It was definitely information that would make all the major factions in the Chaos Sea envious. How could the Alliance of 10,000 Races not be satisfied? Celestial Lord Sanchi, what do you mean? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments remained calm. Just this information alone isn't worth the risk for our Alliance of 10,000 Races. If you really want the Alliance of 10,000 Races to join, show us your sincerity and give us more detailed and richer information regarding your legacies. Celestial Lord Sanchi said coldly. More? Riverward and the other 2 exchanged glances. At the same time, they secretly communicated with each other. They're raising the price. They're certain that we humans have a favor to ask of them, so they're asking for more. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments sent a voice transmission. Greed is a bottomless pit. Even if we give them more detailed legacies, they'll think that we have more that we haven't taken out. They'll probably continue to extort us, Celestial Lord Ming added. Jiang Xi, do you think the information we've given them is enough? Tao Lord Nine Firmaments asked. It's definitely enough. Any more and it'll shake the foundation of our human race's future development. Jiang Xi said solemnly. The three discussed for a while, then came to a decision. They looked at the representative of the Alliance of 10,000 Races. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments said, "This is the most detailed information we can provide. If you want more, I'm sorry, but we don't have it. If your Alliance of 10,000 Races is willing to help us, we'll naturally take out the other half once the war is over." You really don't have it? Celestial Lord Sanchi frowned. No. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments shook his head. Jiang Xi frowned as well. The Alliance of 10,000 Races had suddenly raised the price at such a critical moment. It was indeed quite displeasing. If that's the case, Celestial Lord Sanchi turned to look at the other three Celestial Lords beside him, as well as the leaders of the various factions. They all nodded slightly. The information you humans have given us is too crude. It's not worth the risk. Celestial Lord Sanchi said coldly. You're too greedy. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments said solemnly, suppressing his anger. Don't go overboard. Celestial Lord Ming snorted coldly. Jiang Xi only sneered. Of course, there's another solution. Celestial Lord Sanchi did not care about the attitude of the three powerhouses of the human race. He continued, we don't need any more inheritances, but if you, Tao Lord Mountain Sea, he stared fixedly at Jiang Xi. If you're willing, swear on the 8-cloud inheritance mark that after the war ends, accompany me to the Great Sky Holy Land. Our Alliance of 10,000 Races can also join the human camp. Celestial Lord Sanchi finally revealed his true motive. That's impossible. Don't even think about it. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments and Celestial Lord Ming shouted coldly at the same time. There's no room for discussion. Jiang Xi shook his head. The dagger was revealed. It seemed that everything behind this was caused by the Great Sky Holy Land. And behind the Great Sky Holy Land was the enemy of the upper realm, which was the Star Realm. Otherwise, it was impossible for the Great Sky Holy Land to know about the existence of the 8-cloud inheritance mark. Therefore, he would not be foolish enough to agree to this request. Go to the Great Sky Holy Land? That was courting death. In that case, let's meet on the battlefield. Let's go. Celestial Lord Sanchi stood up. The other experts of the Alliance of 10,000 Races also stood up. Although Patriarch Demonheart's expression was ugly, he also stood up. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The experts of the Alliance of 10,000 Races disappeared one after another, their spiritual senses leaving the Skyspan Mountain River diagram. In front of the stone table, only the three powerhouses of the human race and Patriarch Demonheart were left standing. Patriarch Demonheart had already taken the inheritance that allowed him to cultivate to the limits of the heavenly venerate level. Now he could neither sit nor leave. His face was filled with awkwardness. Demonheart, what's going on? Celestial Lord Ming asked him. That's not what we agreed on previously. Riverward also spoke up. Patriarch Demonheart smiled bitterly. Wait a moment. Let me understand the situation first. The Alliance of 10,000 Races had 5 flying supreme treasures. One of them belonged to Patriarch Demonheart. Everyone, what's going on? Patriarch Demonheart looked at the Tao Lords in the supreme treasure space. These were all Tao Lords that he had made friends with. They were also one of the reasons why he had enough power to speak in the Alliance of 10,000 Races. A rock life-form giant said in a muffled voice, Lord Demonheart, we are friends, but we also want to become stronger. Only by becoming stronger can our respective races have a higher status in the 4th universe. Especially after becoming celestial venerates and having their own miniature universes, our races will have a true foundation. So you can't blame us for this. Speak. What's going on? Patriarch Demonheart growled. He didn't want to hear this nonsense. A Tao Lord from another top-tier race sighed. It's like this. Previously, when the Alliance of 10,000 Races was arguing about whether or not to join the human race, there were many disputes. Celestial Lord Sanchi gave us part of the inheritance that allowed Tao Lords to become celestial venerates without telling you. He said that if the human race gave us a more detailed inheritance, we would still be able to help the human race. If not, we would help the alliance deal with the human race and force Tao Lord Mountain Sea. That's what happened. We don't know where Celestial Lord Sanchi got the inheritance from. But the inheritance he gave us is more detailed and rich than the human race's. In terms of value, it's more than 10 times higher. The inheritance that the human race gave us is simply too crude. Lord Demonheart, what do you think we should choose? The Tao Lords in the true treasure space all looked at Patriarch Demonheart. Patriarch Demonheart smiled bitterly, full of helplessness. I see. Patriarch Demonheart shook his head gently. Combined with the request that Celestial Lord Sanchi had made to Wuxia, he knew that Juntian Holy Land was behind all this. No wonder Celestial Lord Sanchi had helped him so enthusiastically when he was planning to form the Alliance of 10,000 Races. No wonder the Alliance of 10,000 Races was established so smoothly without any obstacles or disputes. His goal was to use the Alliance of 10,000 Races to obtain the inheritance that allowed one to reach the limit of celestial venerate from the human race. And Juntian Holy Land behind him was also helping him to form the Alliance of 10,000 Races. For top clans like us, what we seek is survival, what we seek is strength. The inheritance information given by Celestial Lord Sanchi far surpasses that of the human race. We can't sit back and watch the human race become stronger. If they become stronger, they will definitely squeeze our living space. Moreover, it will definitely be easier for us to join the alliance in this battle. The price we pay will also be the smallest. There are many considerations, be it from the present, the future, or the benefits we can obtain. Patriarch Demonheart, you should understand our choice. The alien Tao Lords who were close to Patriarch Demonheart were all quite calm and collected. Their conversation ended quickly. Inside the Tongtian mountain painting, Patriarch Demonheart sighed softly. He looked at the three powerhouses of the human race and said, behind Celestial Lord Sanchi should be the Juntian Holy Land. He took out an inheritance that was 10 times more detailed than yours. That's why many experts of the Alliance of 10,000 Races sided with him. 10 times? Jiang Xi's expression changed slightly. This Juntian Holy Land was really ruthless. He thought that the inheritance information he had sorted out was already very good, enough to make many factions in the Chaos Sea jealous. But he did not expect that the Juntian Holy Land would be willing to take out an even better inheritance. Jiang Xi understood that even if he knew now, there was nothing he could do that was because he could not take out a better inheritance. Otherwise, it would really be raising a tiger to invite calamity. That would shake the foundation of the human race's future development. If he really took out a better inheritance, given the huge number of races in the Alliance of 10,000 Races, a large number of Tao Lords and heavenly venerates would definitely be born quickly. At that time, the human race's situation would be even more dangerous. Moreover, at this point it was useless to say anything. Celestial Lord Sanchi was here for him. Asking for more inheritance was just a pretense. I didn't do well this time. However, since I obtained a portion of the inheritance information you gave me, I won't take part in this battle. Patriarch Demonheart sighed softly. Then he left the heaven-connecting mountain river painting. Jiang Xi, Venerable Ming, and Tao Lord Nine Firmaments watched him leave and did not stop him. They understood that if they agreed to give the other 2/3 of the inheritance information on cultivating to the limits of an Empyrean, then Patriarch Demonheart should still stand on the side of the human race. However, in the face of this kind of massive number of powerhouses, an Empyrean powerhouse that could only unleash the combat strength of a Tao Lord would have no impact on the overall situation at all. Whether they kept him or not, it was no use. Let's fight to the death. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments, who had always been calm, had a crazed look in his eyes. Our human race will never compromise. Venerable Ming snorted angrily. Master Venerable Ming, looks like we can only go along with this crazy plan. Jiang Xi was filled with killing intent. Chapter 643. Within the space controlled by Patriarch Demonheart, within one of the 5 flying treasures of the Myriad Races Alliance, Lord Demonheart, it's our fault this time, isn't it? Please forgive us. Patriarch Emperor Sanchi can bring tremendous benefits to every single one of us, which is why we're listening to him for now. Once this battle is over and we receive the legacy information from Emperor Sanchi, Emperor Sanchi doesn't have the right to be our leader at all. You're the one who can convince the masses of the Myriad Races Alliance. Yes, we still support Lord Demonheart. A large group of Dao Lords on Patriarch Demonheart's side comforted him. They knew that Patriarch Demonheart was very displeased with their sudden change of sides. These Dao Lords had all gathered together. Although they were comforting him, they were actually worried. They were worried that Patriarch Demonheart would side with the humans and capture them, offering them to them so that the humans could use them as leverage. Alright, I understand what you mean. You're not wrong to do this. Patriarch Demonheart glanced at them all. He sighed inwardly. Although they were all on his side, they weren't his slaves. He couldn't force them to do anything. Besides, there wasn't much he could do. If these 100 or so Dao Lords gathered together and unleashed their full power, he wouldn't be able to suppress them at all. They were more than capable of charging out of this 6th-order flying treasure. You can all wait here for now, Patriarch Demonheart said. He'd taken benefits from the humans. Although he hadn't managed to get the Myriad Races Alliance to join the human side in the end, he'd still promised not to interfere. As an expert who kept his word, he wouldn't go back on his word. The 100 or so Dao Lords exchanged glances and smiled wryly. The internal strife within the Myriad Races Alliance was severe. After this battle, their status within the alliance would most likely decline. At the same time, the experts of the Monster and Ghost Alliance received Emperor Sanchi's message. They were all overjoyed. Emperor Myriad Fiend and Emperor Yendu, in particular, understood everything behind the scenes. So Emperor Sanchi was Autarch Juntian's third chess piece. However, they didn't care too much about it. All they cared about was destroying the humans right now. Ha ha ha. Emperor Myriad Fiend laughed wildly. I didn't think the human race would be so stupid as to offend the Myriad Races Alliance. Now that the Alliance of Myriad Races has joined our alliance, we now have more than 1,000 Dao Lords. They occupied almost 80% of the battle power of all the pinnacle powerhouses in the entire universe. The puny human race is not qualified to fight with us. They're bound to lose. That's right. He's definitely going to lose. A puny human dares to resist? There are so many of us here. A collective attack from us will probably cause them to crumble instantly. The Dao Lords of the Alliance were all roaring with laughter, filled with confidence. Thousands of Dao Lords and 6 celestial venerables. Such a powerful force was something that no force in the 4th universe could resist. They could only be crushed. Soon, the flying true treasures of the joint camp and the Myriad Races Alliance approached rapidly. Only Patriarch Demonheart's flying true treasures remained stationary. Those cowards from the human camp are hiding in their 7th-rank flying treasures. We can't hurt them at all. Surround them. Surround the 9-story tower. That's right. Surround the 9-story tower completely. Once they come out, we'll attack together and kill them instantly. Unless they hide inside forever and never come out. If they hide in their true treasure space forever, then we'll trap and suppress them forever. Given our current power, we only need 1/3 of the Dao Lords and Celestial Venerables to guard this place. That's enough to make the human camp unable to struggle. And we can seize the opportunity to plunder the human territory completely. Without territory, they'll be trapped forever. Unless they retreat to Tomorrow Venerable's miniature universe. But without the resources of the original universe, even with the powerful 8 Clouds inheritance, it'll be difficult for the human race to produce more pinnacle great beings. There'll be no threat to us. The great beings of the joint camp and the alliance of myriad races were extremely confident. 6 flying true treasures, each like a war fortress, surrounded the towering sky tower in the void space. It was like a giant sphere with sky tower as the core. The 6 flying type true treasures drew an arc in the air and circled around sky-reaching tower, completely surrounding it. Human, hurry up and admit defeat. Hand over the inheritance of 8 clouds. Hand over all the inheritances from Dao Lords to Celestial Venerables. Once we confirm it, we'll leave immediately if you don't hand it over. The human race will have no place in the 4th universe from now on. The territory of the human race will no longer belong to the human race. Hand over the inheritance. Hand over the inheritance. A majestic voice was transmitted directly into the heavenly tower. The Tao Lords on the 6 flying true treasures all spread their murderous auras. More than 1,000 Tao Lords and 6 celestial venerables. What a terrifying power. There's no hope of winning at all. Once we go out, we'll probably be reduced to ashes. Within the space of Sky Tower, more than 100 Tao Lords from the human camp were panicking. Even Celestial Venerable Lu and Celestial Venerable Lai Mountain looked extremely solemn. If they went out, they weren't confident that they could resist the joint attack of so many great beings. Jiang Xi, Celestial Venerable Ming, Tao Lord Nine Clouds, Tao Lord Clear Flame, Tao Lord Mi Luo, and the other great beings of the human race saw this scene and understood. Even if the order was forcefully given, these Tao Lords probably wouldn't go out. After all, these alien races weren't willing to give up their lives for the sake of the human race. Forcing the human race to hand over the inheritance? Tao Lord Nine Clouds' eyes were filled with killing intent. In your dreams? Jiang Xi sneered. Not to mention the Juntian Sacred Land scheme behind the scenes, the other races outside all saw the human race as a great threat. Once the human race handed over the inheritance, the demon race, ghost race, and other top races would be able to continuously produce peak experts with their huge population. This way, even if the human race became stronger in the future, they wouldn't be a great threat to the alien races. Therefore, whether they chose to withdraw after obtaining the inheritance or directly drive the human race out of the 4th universe, it was acceptable to the joint camp and the Myriad Races Alliance. Jiang Xi. Tao Lord Nine Clouds looked at Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi. Celestial Venerable Ming also looked over. Mountain Sea. Tao Lord Clear Flame looked at Jiang Xi. Junior brother. Tao Lord Mi Luo did the same. The gazes of the surrounding human Tao Lords all fell upon River Word. They already knew about Jiang Xi's crazy plan and understood how crazy this so-called crazy plan was. Although Jiang Xi vowed that there wouldn't be any danger, how could they believe it? Back outside the 8 Cloud Ruins, Jiang Xi had relied on the 8 Cloud Pavilion to block the joint attack of so many experts, but that was the 8 Cloud Pavilion. As for Tier 9 Armor Treasures and Tier 9 Essence Soul Treasures, no one knew the exact strength of these legacies. Therefore, it was still unknown whether they could block the joint attack of thousands of Tao Lords and 6 Heavenly Venerables. However, now that the human race was facing a desperate situation, only Jiang Xi's crazy plan had hope of success. The only thing was that Jiang Xi's life was on the line. Leave it to me. Jiang Xi's eyes were cold. Be careful. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments couldn't help but exhort. Don't worry. Do they think they can kill me? Jiang Xi looked at the 6 flying-type treasures outside. They were close enough. Not far away, Celestial Exalt Lu and Celestial Exalt Lai Mountain felt a strong sense of curiosity. They still didn't know about the human race's plan, but based on the conversation between Jiang Xi and the human race, it seemed that this plan could give the human race a chance of victory. What was this plan? At this moment, in the starry skies of the Tao Alliance's heavenly court, which had been completely destroyed, a total of 6 flying-type treasures were flying around Skypiercer Tower, each about 100 billion kilometers away. Hand over the legacies. Hand over the legacies. Hand over the legacies. The morale of the Tao Lords of the Allied faction and the Myriad Races Alliance was high. The overwhelming advantage filled them with absolute confidence. It's moving. It seems like someone is about to come out of the 9-story tower. Are they going to flee? Everyone get ready. Get ready to attack together and kill them all. The experts of the 2 factions were all on high alert, ready to attack at any moment. The 6 flying-type treasures were rapidly approaching as well. At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air outside Skypiercer Tower. Huh? Alone? It's Tao Lord Mountain Sea of the human race. Attack together. Attack my ass. Celestial Exalt Sanchi immediately roared. Everyone stop. He's the inheritor of 8 clouds. If we kill him, who will we ask for the legacies from? However, his words were already too late. Boom boom boom. Thousands of terrifying secret technique attacks swarmed out of the 6 flying-type treasures, covering the sky and drowning Jiang Xi. The starry sky exploded with destructive energy. Not good. Celestial Exalt Myriad Demon's expression changed drastically. Everyone stop. Celestial Exalt Yendu shouted. Damn it. Celestial Exalt Sanchi was furious. They weren't afraid of offending Juntian Supreme, but they were worried that if they really killed Downlord Mountain Sea, the inheritance of 8 clouds would really be gone. Moreover, the conditions and legacies that Juntian Supreme had promised them would be gone too. Rumble. The rumbling of the energy explosion gradually subsided. How is this possible? He's fine. He's unharmed. In the rapidly recovering void, the black armored figure was still standing there. Not far behind him was Sky Tower. Celestial Exalt Sanchi, Celestial Exalt Myriad Demon, and Celestial Exalt Yendu could all confirm that Downlord Mountain Sea hadn't entered the 9-story tower to take refuge. How did Downlord Mountain Sea withstand such a terrifying concentrated attack? What kind of armor is he wearing? Tier 7. Tier 8. Celestial Exalt Sanchi was shocked. Even if it's a Tier 7 or Tier 8 armor, there were many Essence Soul attacks among the attacks just now. Celestial Exalt Myriad Demon shook his head. Something's wrong. Celestial Exalt Yendu said in a low voice. Let's not worry about that for now. As long as he's not dead, we have to capture him no matter what. Then they ordered their subordinates at the same time. Capture Downlord Mountain Sea. Capture him. Capture him alive. A series of excited, hysterical laughter and furious roars could be heard. Celestial Exalt Sanchi, Celestial Exalt Myriad Demon, and Celestial Exalt Yendu controlled their flying-type treasures and quickly approached Jiang Xi. They all had the mission of bringing Downlord Mountain Sea to the Great Sky Sacred Ground. Capture him alive? Jiang Xi sneered. Come on, come closer. Let's see who can capture who alive. Once we're close enough, none of you can escape. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The distance of 100 billion kilometers was covered in an instant. Soon, the 6 celestial exalts controlled their flying-type treasures and entered a radius of 1 million kilometers around Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi stood in the void. Compared to the endless starry sky, he looked very small. But at this moment, his eyes suddenly shot out 2 terrifying blood-red rays. The 2 rays of blood-red light formed a mysterious blood-red pattern in the air almost instantly. What kind of secret technique is this? Is he still thinking of escaping? Be careful, don't let Downlord Mountain Sea escape. The experts on the 6 flying-type treasures were all worried that Jiang Xi would use some unknown secret technique to escape. The next moment, cloud destruction. Attack. Jiang Xi's eyes were cold. Whoosh! The mysterious blood-red pattern suddenly exploded like a scattering wind in clouds. The terrifying ripples with blood-red light instantly covered the space within a radius of 1 million kilometers, including the 6 flying-type treasures. Boom! The earth-shattering sound exploded in the minds of the Downlords from the alliance of 10,000 races and the joint camp. Thousands of Downlords from other races. They had been laughing crazily and excitedly just a moment ago. But now they all entered a dazed state. Even the 6 celestial exalts, including Celestial Exalt Sanchi, Celestial Exalt's 1,000 demons, and Celestial Exalts felt a terrifying impact on their primordial spirits. Their consciousness instantly became dazed and their thoughts became much slower. But then Celestial Exalt Sanchi, Celestial Exalt's 1,000 demons, and Celestial Exalt's Yendu, the 3 second-step Celestial Exalts, all woke up. The remaining 3 first-step Celestial Exalts were still in a daze. Oh no! What kind of attack is this? It actually made thousands of Downlords fall into a daze at the same time. Ping Qi and the other 2 are first-step Celestial Exalts. Their primordial spirits aren't as strong as ours, so they couldn't resist it. Even second-step Celestial Exalts like us were hit just now. At this moment in the space of Skypiercer Tower, the human experts were also stunned. Of course, they had noticed the abnormalities of the joint camp and the alliance of 10,000 races. This is impossible. The laws of heaven and earth of the original universe are fair. It's impossible for such a heaven-defying primordial spirit attack to appear. It's the 8 clouds' inheritance. It must be an attack left behind by such a powerful civilization to break the laws of heaven and earth of the original universe. The alien experts couldn't believe it. Celestial Exalts Lu and Lai Shan didn't say anything, but their eyes were filled with shock. Everyone, don't hesitate. Tao Lord Nine Clouds was the first to speak. Everyone, attack and destroy the joint camp and the alliance of 10,000 races in one fell swoop. Haha. Kill. Let's decide the outcome of this battle. The human experts no longer had any worries. They all rushed out of Skypiercer Tower excitedly. At this moment, Jiang Xi had already moved. He picked up the sword embryo he had obtained from the Eight Clouds' inheritance and charged toward one of the flying true treasures of the alliance of 10,000 races. During the years he had been in seclusion in the Eight Clouds ruins and the 2,000 years he had spent in the origin space of Mount Xianhuang, he had used the sword embryo to devour those 5th grade and 6th grade true treasures. The sword embryo had originally been a 7th grade true treasure, but after devouring a large number of true treasures, it had now become a peak 8th grade offensive true treasure. Even if he didn't use any secret techniques, he could easily unleash the combat strength of a peak Tao Lord. Chapter 644. The combined attacks of over 1,000 Tao Lords had caused the galaxy to shatter, but it was rapidly recovering. Countless spatial fragments seemed to be swept up by the waves, roaring and attacking everything. After Jiang Xi used Cloud Extinguisher's Essence Soul attack, the 6 flying treasures of the allied faction and the Myriad Races alliance seemed to freeze, stopping in the endless spatial turbulence. Within the flying treasure space a trillion kilometers away, Patriarch Demonheart and the 100 or so alien Tao Lords were also deeply shocked. They weren't within the range of Jiang Xi's attack, so they couldn't feel the terrifying might of the Essence Soul attack. However, they could detect the situation of the Myriad Races alliance and the allied faction. 6 Celestial Venerables and over 1,000 Tao Lords. Only 3 second-step Celestial Venerables quickly regained consciousness, while the other experts were all in a daze. In such a state, they were basically at the mercy of others. How did he do it? Patriarch Demonheart was shocked and confused, but also extremely wary. Fortunately, we didn't attack. We escaped disaster. The 100 or so alien Tao Lords who belonged to Patriarch Demonheart's faction were all overjoyed. When they looked at Patriarch Demonheart again, their eyes were filled with gratitude. If not for Patriarch Demonheart, they probably would have fallen into a daze like the other experts of the Myriad Races alliance and been at the mercy of others. They could already see that Tao Lord Mountain Sea of the human race had already teleported over with a longsword in hand. Wake up! Wake up, all of you! Celestial Venerables Sanchi, Myriad Demon, and Yendu were all roaring furiously. Their voices carried the power of their essence souls, wanting to awaken the Tao Lords under their command. However, they didn't dare to use too much force, because these Tao Lords were in a daze and unable to resist. Given their strength as second-step Celestial Venerables, it was easy for them to unleash the power of a Tao Lord at the very limit. It was guaranteed that they wouldn't cause any collateral damage. Some of the weaker Tao Lords might even die. However, they underestimated the power of Cloud Extinguisher. The ripples with blood-colored light were like a blood net that tightly bound the primordial spirits of those powerhouses. Unless they could use their own strength to break through the net of blood, their essence souls would forever be in a daze. This was the primordial spirit supreme art passed down by God King Eight Clouds. Even in the primordial realm and the astral realm, it was a supreme technique that was second to none. Damn it! Empyrean Sanchi was furious. It's over. Empyrean Myriad Demon was both furious and in despair. Hateful. Laughable. Yendu had a complicated expression on his face. From the moment they had broken free of the primordial blood web until now, it had actually been an extremely short process. Not even an instant had passed. At this moment, Jiang Xi had already teleported over. Kill! Jiang Xi, who was wearing black armor and holding an ancient stone sword, shouted coldly and slashed out with his sword. Voila! A green ray of light appeared in the air. It was like a dream, flashing and disappearing. Following that, countless green rays of light appeared, one after another, as if they contained endless vitality. In an instant, The green light enveloped the two flying treasures of the Myriad Races Alliance. Boom! In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, it was as if he had gone through a reincarnation cycle from birth to death. The first move of the Heavenly Tao Scroll of the Mountain and Sea Sword, life reincarnation. Jiang Xi's expression was calm. A green sword light with a destructive aura descended from the void. As if it could destroy the world, it pierced through the three flying treasures of the Myriad Races Alliance. These three were only rank 5 flying treasures. The defense of the treasures alone could not withstand the power of the green sword light. Although there were more than one first-step Empyrean and 100 Tao Lords in each flying treasure space, they were still in a daze. They were all in a daze and had no strength to resist. You killed a Cosmos-level Tao Lord, Eternal EXP +9. You killed a Cosmos-level Tao Lord, Eternal EXP +6. You killed a Flood-level Tao Lord, Eternal EXP +3. You killed a Desolate-level Tao Lord, Eternal EXP +1. Those Tao Lords instantly lost their lives, their bodies and souls destroyed. Only 3 first-step Empyreans survived. In the primordial universe it was almost impossible to kill a heavenly venerable. However, at this moment these 3 first-step Empyreans were still in a daze. They had not woken up and were floating in the starry sky. 3 flying-type supreme treasures and more than 300 Tao Lords had brought riverward more than 1,000 eternal experience points. This sword, what kind of secret technique is this? It's too terrifying. Is this the limit of a Tao Lord? Mountain Sea Tao Lord. Mountain Sea Tao Lord. The 100 or so human experts who had just rushed out of Sky Tower were all extremely shocked. Then they laughed loudly and shouted. They had won this battle. 3 more. At this moment Jiang Xi looked at the flying treasures controlled by Empyrean Sanchi, Empyrean Myriad Demon, and Empyrean Yendu. Mountain Sea Tao Lord Jiang Xi. You are going to become enemies with the entire 4th universe. Empyrean Sanchi roared angrily. Those who had died just now were all experts of the Myriad Races Alliance. Jiang Xi's sword had caused the Myriad Races Alliance to lose half of their strength. What a joke. You are a sinister Empyrean who only knows how to scheme. How can you represent the 4th universe? Jiang Xi sneered. He raised the stone sword in his hand and was about to use another killer move. Mountain Sea Tao Lord, how about we stop here? Empyrean Myriad Demon suddenly asked. Mountain Sea Tao Lord, we are also willing to retreat. We can also promise that during this era of calamity, we will not take half a step into your human territory. Empyrean Yendu's voice echoed in the starry sky. The 2 Empyreans lowered their heads. Unlike Empyrean Sanchi, they each had a pinnacle clan behind them. Empyrean Sanchi was a lone Empyrean. Even if the Myriad Races Alliance was destroyed, he could still leave in the end. It would be fine even if he never returned to the 4th universe. In this battle, if all the experts of the Myriad Races Alliance died, only the 2 of them would be left. That meant that the demons and ghosts were almost done for. On the other side, after hearing the words of the 2 Empyreans, the 100 or so human experts who had just teleported here gave up on their plans to attack. They looked at Jiang Xi, Empyrean Ming, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments, and the others of the human race waiting for orders. Empyrean Ming, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments, Tao Lord Clear Flame, Tao Lord Miluo, Tao Lord Chong Yuan, and the other human experts all focused their attention on Jiang Xi. Under everyone's gaze, Jiang Xi smiled. You want to retreat now? Too late. Kill. He roared, the blood-red light in his eyes extremely intense. Aha, that's how it should be. Enemies are to be killed, not negotiated. Use the enemy's blood in exchange for the future of the human race. The other experts of the human race also burst into laughter. This battle would determine the future of the human race. If the human race wanted to become the strongest race, they needed more and better territories to nurture more human geniuses. Only then would the human race prosper forever. Kill. 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 The foreign race experts of the human camp also roared excitedly and crazily. They had joined the human race, so naturally they would rise or fall together. The situation before them was a foregone conclusion. Now the human race would become the strongest race in the history of the 4th universe. In the future, they would even become the strongest race in the Chaos Sea. and they followed the human race so their future would naturally not be bad. Eternity was not a dream. Attack! Attack! At this moment, none of the human experts held back. They all attacked with all their might. Empyrean Ming, Empyrean Lu, and Empyrean Lai Shan. Dao Lord 9 Firmaments, Dao Lord Clear Flame, Dao Lord Mi Luo, and the others, a total of more than 160 Dao Lords, collectively used all sorts of mystic arts, Dao arts, and essence spirit attacks. Rumble! The overwhelming attacks covered the last 3 flying true treasures. Block! Block for me! Empyrean Myriad Demon roared, his demonic aura filling the sky. If the ghost race is finished, you won't have it easy either. Empyrean Yandu emitted a monstrous ghostly aura. This is the primal universe. I am an Empyrean. More than 100 Dao Lords joining forces. What can they do to me? Empyrean Sanchi was also resisting with all his might. He did not want to give up the power of the Myriad Races Alliance. Rumble! Instantly, the collective attacks of the human camp drowned the 3 flying true treasures. Accompanied by spatial torrents and shattering galaxies, the violent energy impact wanted to crush the Dao Lords within the true treasures. The 3 Empyreans were doing their best to resist. All 3 of them had the 8th tier true treasures bestowed by Prime Sky. Although they could only unleash the combat power of a Dao Lord, and the 8th tier true treasures could only unleash the defensive limits of the primal universe, they were still 8th tier true treasures. However, it was an 8th grade supreme treasure after all, and its defensive power was astonishing. Most likely in the entire Chaos Sea, there was no attack that could break through the defenses of an 8th tier true treasure. A sinister snake shadow, a beast-shaped armor, and a green-faced fanged ghost mask. The 3 8th tier true treasures all became incomparably large as they blocked the attacks of the human camp. Boom! 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 Terrifying waves of energy crashed down upon the 3 8th tier true treasures. Heaven and earth rumbled as they defended. The entire universe 4 could feel the terrifying waves of energy. After an unknown period of time, the waves of energy reached their peak. Haha, we blocked it. With us here, you won't be able to destroy our alliance. The Myriad Races Alliance won't be destroyed either. Empyrean Yendu, Empyrean All-Fiend, and Empyrean Sanchi all laughed wildly. This was because the destructive waves of energy had already begun to weaken. Only a few dozen of the weakest Dao Lords within the 3 flying true treasures had perished. This meant that they were able to withstand the attacks of the human camp. This meant that their alliance, the Myriad Races Alliance, still had hope. Second stance of the Mountain Sea Sword. 5 elements, yin-yang. But right at this moment, Jiang Xi once more struck out with his sword. Streaks of 5-colored light flowed out, slowly spreading out to cover the last 3 true treasures. The 5-colored light constantly transformed, finally forming a black and white yin-yang diagram. Boom! In that instant, an enormous devouring force appeared. This yin-yang diagram seemed capable of devouring the entire world. The 3 flying true treasures were within the yin-yang diagram, and they were battered by the 5-colored sword light and the devouring force. Not good. It's even stronger than the previous strike. Block it. What kind of gravity is this? Empyrean Sanchi, Empyrean All-Fiend, and Empyrean Yendu's laughter vanished. Although they all had 8th grade true treasures, they couldn't spare enough energy to defend against Jiang Xi's sword while fighting against the other experts of the human camp. Only a small portion of their beast-shaped armor, Ghostbane mask, and sinister serpent shadow could be used to block Jiang Xi's attack. Whoosh! The 5-colored sword light and the devouring force easily broke through their defenses. An 8th grade true treasure. His sword is at least an 8th grade true treasure. The 3 Empyreans immediately realized this terrifying problem. But it was already too late. The endless 5-colored sword light and the devouring force passed through the barriers of the 8th grade true treasures and wreaked havoc within the 3 flying true treasures. The bodies and primordial spirits of those days Dao Lords were shattered by the 5-colored sword light one by one, turning into dust. Then under the devouring force, they turned into nothingness. I wonder if it's a blessing before I die. And I'm not sure if it's a blessing before I die. You killed a universe-level Dao Lord. Eternal experience points +9. You killed a universe-level Dao Lord. Eternal experience points +6. You killed a flood-level Dao Lord. Eternal experience points plus 3. You killed a desolate level Dao Lord. Eternal experience points plus 1. Once again, he received close to 2,000 eternal experience points. After this battle, his total experience points had exceeded 20,000. Eternal experience points, 22,546. At this moment, Jiang Xi was checking his experience points balance. The experts of the human race were completely dumbfounded. They couldn't even think of celebrating. Is this something a human can do? One person had almost wiped out the joint camp in the Myriad Races Alliance. Of course, it wasn't that the other experts of the human camp didn't do anything. If they hadn't gone all out just now to restrain the 3 heavenly venerables, Jiang Xi's attack wouldn't have been able to break through the defense of the 8th grade true treasures. Even if the sword embryo in his hand was a 8th grade true treasure, it wouldn't have been enough. Unless the slaughtering shadow sword could be upgraded to a 9th grade true treasure, it wouldn't be able to break through the defense of an 8th grade true treasure human. This isn't over. Heavenly Venerable 3 Qi suddenly roared in anger. Then, he swept up the other 3 first-step Heavenly Venerables who were still in a daze and teleported away. These 3 lone Heavenly Venerables were all recruited by him into the Myriad Races Alliance. Naturally, he couldn't leave them to the human race. Heavenly Venerable Myriad Demon and Heavenly Venerable Yen Du didn't say anything and teleported away as well. We won. Haha, we won. This battle is a great victory. The departure of the 3 Heavenly Venerables also caused the experts of the human camp to finally react. They won. One Dao Lord after another stood in the desolate starry skies of the Dao Alliance's celestial court and cheered. This had been the most prosperous place in the 4th universe, but now it was completely barren. However, none of the human experts felt any pain in their hearts. They had won. It would be easy for them to create a star field even more prosperous than the Dao Alliance's celestial court. Demon Heart, are you going to stay behind and celebrate with us? Jiang Xi stared at the starry skies 1,000,000,000,000 kilometers away. Congratulations. Patriarch Demon Heart's voice rang out, but his tone was slightly bitter. Then, with a spatial ripple, Patriarch Demon Heart teleported away with his subordinates. Not a single one of his subordinates had died. Compared to the joint camp in the Myriad Races Alliance, they were quite lucky. However, compared to the humans who had won a great victory, their luck seemed rather bleak. One could imagine that in the future, when faced with the increasingly powerful humans, the races behind these surviving Dao Lords wouldn't have an easy time. All our plans were for naught in the end. Patriarch Demon Heart sighed. He was beginning to regret his decision. After Empyrean Threefold seized power, if he had taken the initiative to ask his 100+ subordinates to join the human camp, he might have been able to obtain the final limit Empyrean legacy and share in the spoils of this victory. Unfortunately, there were no ifs. Before the battle had erupted, he hadn't held out any hope for the human race at all. How could the humans possibly win against the incomparably powerful joint camp and the Myriad Races Alliance? Still, the humans had won. A single Dao Lord of the mountains and seas had changed the entire situation. Chapter 645. Although Empyrean Threefold was furious, he was still able to leave in a carefree manner. As for Empyrean Allfiend and Empyrean Yen Du, they were worried. As supreme races, the monsters and ghosts had enormous resources. They couldn't just leave like that. But now that all of their Dao Lords had died, they were the only 2 generals left. They were no longer able to stop the humans from invading them. They had a grudge against the humans to begin with. Ever since the beginning of the Cataclysm, when the 4th universe had given birth to countless races, the humans, monsters and ghosts had been fighting over territory. They had been at war for countless eons, and the hatred between them had long since become irreconcilable. Even if the humans had won this battle, there was no way they would let them off. In the future, when the humans grew even more powerful, how could they not take revenge? For this reason, after leaving the battlefield, the 2 Empyreans met once more. We've already lost this war. The rise of the humans is unstoppable. This war will definitely be an excuse for them to attack us once they grow stronger. Empyrean Alphine said in a low voice. That's right. That's why our two races have to truly join forces. When the time comes, we'll pull in the other races and form a loose alliance that'll be able to deal with the humans. This alliance won't ask for anything else. All we ask is that when the humans become too much of a threat, we'll be able to help each other and allow our races to survive. What do you think? Empyrean Yendu sighed. That's all we can do. By now, they both understood that there was no longer any power in the fourth universe that could stop the humans from advancing. In the future, all they could do was survive and ensure that their races wouldn't be wiped out by the humans. The experts of the Human Alliance cleaned up the battlefield, then went to the headquarters of the Violet Heaven sect, which was closest to the Heavenly Court of the Tao Alliance. There they held a lively celebratory banquet. The human Tao Lords were the most excited of all. The alien Tao Lords who had joined the humans were incredibly happy as well. This was because when the humans grew stronger, their vassal races would naturally grow stronger as well. After the banquet, the alien Tao Lords all retreated and returned to their own races. The human Tao Lords, however, were gathered together. They all sat atop the ninth heavens, with fine wine and delicacies from every part of the universe placed before them. Our race has won a great victory. This battle has established a powerful foundation for our race in the fourth universe. In the future, no alien race will ever be able to stop us from developing. The eternal prosperity of the human race is already in sight. Let's congratulate the human race. The human race's strongest expert, Ming Tianzuan, looked at everyone and raised his wine cup. Congratulations to the human race. Congratulations to the human race. Congratulations to the human race. Zhang Xiai, Tao Lord Nine Firmaments, Tao Lord Flameless, and the other human experts all raised their cups. Back then my master, Heavenly Venerate Purple Firmament, led the human race to rise from a tiny race to a pinnacle race. It was only after Master was permanently suppressed by the universe's origin that the development of the human race came to a halt. Countless eras have passed. The Monster Clan and the Ghost Clan, who were once suppressed by the Human Clan, now dare to compete with us. The two sacred grounds of the Chaos Sea, which were once intimidated by Master's invincible reputation, now dare to plot against us humans. Tao Lord Nine Firmaments sighed. Fortunately, we have another dazzling legendary expert. He looked at Zhang Xiai and said, Zhang Xiai has contributed greatly to this victory. We should all toast to Zhang Xiai. Yes, it's all thanks to Zhang Xiai this time. Zhang Xiai. Mountain Sea. The human experts all raised their cups and looked at Zhang Xiai. They had all seen this battle and knew how much credit Zhang Xiai had contributed. Especially in the final battle earlier, Zhang Xiai had almost single-handedly fought all the experts of the Joint Camp and the Myriad Races Alliance. How terrifying and heaven-defying was that? And Zhang Xiai had actually survived and almost wiped out the enemy. Zhang Xiai also raised his cup. Speaking of which, the calamity of the human race this time was also caused by me. It was because of the Eight Clouds legacy that so many people coveted it. That's nothing. The future prosperity of the human race depends on this legacy. No need to say more. You have contributed greatly. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, don't take it to heart. The experts of the human clan all burst into laughter. Oh. At the same time, in the primordial realm's Chaos Sea, Juntian Holy Land Universe, the human race actually won? After Juntian Supreme heard the news, he was obviously very dissatisfied. As expected of the Eight Clouds legacy, he has so many tricks up his sleeve before he has grown up. However, this way it will be difficult to explain to Illusion Immortal General Qian. Recently he found that he could no longer contact Illusion Immortal General Qian. However, he knew that this Chaos Origin Immortal General might appear in front of him at any time. If he didn't complete any of the 3 missions, it would be a big problem. With the strength of Chaos Origin Immortal General, his situation in the Star Origin realm would definitely not be good in the future. However, the problem now was that his plan to destroy the human race in the fourth universe had failed. It was impossible to find another way to destroy the human race. Not to mention bringing Tao Lord Mountain Sea of the human race in the fourth universe to Illusion Immortal General Qian. For a moment, this Eternal Supreme was in a dilemma. It's still the problem of the legacy. Since the human race has the 8 clouds legacy, they will definitely become stronger and stronger in the future. Then I'll spread the legacy of nurturing Tao Lords, and the legacy of cultivating supreme celestials to the entire 4th universe. Not only will I give it to the Myriad Races Alliance, but I'll also give it to the demon race, ghost race, and other races regardless of their size. In this way there might still be a chance. After another 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or an era with a huge number of races, there might be enough Tao Lords to launch another attack on the human race. Jun Tian Supreme quickly made a decision. Illusion Immortal General Qian did not set a time limit for him to complete the mission. As long as he could complete it in this era of calamity, it would be fine. Soon Empyrean Sanchi, Empyrean Myriad Demon, and Empyrean Yen Do received the same legacy information. This was a systematic legacy that could be cultivated from weak to Empyrean. After seeing this legacy, Empyrean Sanchi did not feel much. He followed Jun Tian Supreme's orders and spread the legacy to the various races of the Myriad Races Alliance. As for Empyrean Myriad Demon and Empyrean Yen Do, they were pleasantly surprised and worried, because the appearance of this legacy would probably change the situation in the entire 4th universe. This was a mixed blessing for the demon race and ghost race. In the future, perhaps their 2 peak races could become even stronger and resist the conquest of the human race. But perhaps with the help of this legacy, even more peak races would appear. At that time, the situation and living space of the demon race and ghost race would definitely be worse than now. But they also understood that it was useless to think about anything now. Their momentum was gone. No matter what they did, it was not up to them. Once they embarked on this path, there was no turning back. The race war that almost engulfed the entire 4th universe had passed. However, the battle this time was completely between peak powerhouses. Countless ordinary lives were completely unaware of it. Some low-level wars might bring disaster to them, but a war between peak powerhouses could hardly affect ordinary people. However, it was different after the war. The joint camp of the demon race and ghost race, the Myriad Races Alliance with 194 peak races as the core, was now completely defeated. Almost all the Tao Lords were wiped out, and the human race naturally would not be merciful and let them go. Soon, the huge war machine began to set off on the path of conquest. Countless armies of immortals, led by true monarchs, went to conquer the territories of the other races. A massacre was unavoidable. The rise of any powerful race could not avoid blood and fire. Of course, there was no need to mobilize too many human Tao Lords to expand the territory. Therefore, Jiang Xi was free. His clone prepared to enter a long period of seclusion and use the interface to increase his strength. As for his main body, he naturally entered the Chaos Sea again to temper himself. He had not obtained some of the opportunities in the Chaos Sea yet. For example, the inheritance and treasures of Qing Shuang's race, which was the Qing Yuan race, were still in a void world space in the Myriad World's ruins. Last time, because of the appearance of the 8 Clouds inheritance, he did not have time to take it. Now he could go. In addition, the last 2 incomplete parts of the Rank 9 Supreme Treasure, the 7 Mountains, were also in the Chaos Sea. He was prepared to travel in the Chaos Sea and find the incomplete parts. Oh, time passed. In the blink of an eye, 1,000 years had passed. During this 1,000 years, the entire 4th universe was in a period of great turmoil. Outside the human race's territory, almost all the life star zones were at war. In the 4th universe, apart from the demons and ghosts, the major races still had some resistance. As for the other races, especially the top ones, because they had lost their Tao Lords, it was difficult for them to resist the invasion of the human race's army. On this day, Jiang Xi's clone received a message from his master, Tao Lord 9 Firmaments. The 2 of them met through a transmission phantom. Master. Jiang Xi's transmission phantom appeared in front of Tao Lord 9 Firmaments. I didn't disturb your cultivation, did I? Tao Lord 9 Firmaments asked with a smile. No, I didn't. My cultivation has already risen to the level of a universe Tao Lord. I'm looking for an opportunity to break through to the heavenly venerable realm. Jiang Xi smiled. Very good. It seems that as your master, I'm really going to fall behind you. Tao Lord 9 Firmaments laughed when he heard Jiang Xi's confident words. He was a half-step heavenly venerable and was on the verge of a breakthrough, so he knew very well about Jiangxi's current state. That's hard to say. Who knows, Master might break through first and become another heavenly venerable expert of the human race. Jiangxi smiled. Of course, even so, he felt that he should be the first to break through. With the experience points, no one could compare to him in terms of cultivation speed. After 1,000 years of seclusion, he had used the experience points panel to increase everything that could be improved. Cultivation True Body Universe Tao Lord, 900 yuan/900 yuan. Clone Universe Tao Lord, 900 yuan/900 yuan. Tao Technique, Ultimate Sword Tao, 1000 yuan/1000 yuan. 5 Elements Heavenly Tao, 1000 yuan/1000 yuan. Life Heavenly Tao, 1000 yuan/1000 yuan. Secret Technique, Mountain Sea Sword Sutra, Heavenly Tao Scroll, 10,000 yuan/10,000 yuan. 8 Lives 589 yuan/20,000 yuan. Cloud Annihilation, 642 yuan/20,000 yuan. Cultivation Technique, Purple Firmament Sword Sutra Deduction, 1 million experience points per time conversion, 1 eternal experience point equals 1 trillion experience points, 1 eternal fragment equals 1 eternal experience point. 7,852 trillion eternal experience point. 10253. As long as he could deduce the Tao technique to the origin realm, he could directly advance to a heavenly venerable with 8 clouds inheritance. Of course, apart from his cultivation, his true combat strength had already surpassed many heavenly venerables. This was because the 8 lives and cloud annihilation that he had cultivated had already reached the second level of the 2 ultimate arts. His body was comparable to a Tier 7 supreme treasure. In the entire Chaos Sea, there was probably no powerhouse who could completely destroy his body, let alone kill him. The strength of his primordial spirit had reached the level of a second step heavenly venerable. There were not many powerhouses in the entire Chaos Sea who could surpass him. Now, in a real battle, probably only Ming Tianzuan, who was close to being an invincible heavenly venerable, could suppress him. There's one more thing. Recently, our race has discovered something strange, Tao Lord 9 Clouds said. Something strange. In the process of conquering the foreign races, we discovered that some of the foreign races who originally had no resistance began to have some resistance. Their overall strength seems to have increased compared to 1,000 years ago. Did the forces of the Chaos Sea interfere? Jiangxi guessed something. That's right, it's the Juntian Holy Land. Tao Lord 9 Clouds nodded. Some time ago, we destroyed the ancestral land of an ordinary race. From their inheritance, we discovered a piece of inheritance information from the Juntian Holy Land. Only then did we know that the Juntian Holy Land had taken out a complete inheritance system that could reach the heavenly venerable level, and secretly passed it down to a large number of races in the 4th universe. In the past 1,000 years, those foreign races relied on this inheritance system to secretly cultivate many immortal Tao powerhouses, Tao Lord 9 Clouds explained. Juntian Holy Land. They haven't given up on destroying the human race. It seems that I haven't killed enough. Jiangxi's eyes were filled with killing intent. In the past 1,000 years, his true body had been wandering the Chaos Sea and had killed many Tao Lord powerhouses of the Juntian Holy Land. However, I'm afraid that their plan to suppress our human race is going to fail after 1,000 years of accumulation. The number of elites and geniuses of the human race has reached a critical point that is about to explode. At that time, even if those foreign races have the inheritance of the Juntian Holy Land, it will be useless. They can't compare to the geniuses and powerhouses of the human race at all. Tao Lord 9 Clouds laughed. That's right. Sooner or later, the foreign races will be conquered by the human race. Jiangxi laughed as well. With the help of the 8 Clouds inheritance, the human race's cultivation system was even more perfect. The probability of emerging geniuses increased by 100 or 1,000 times. 1,000 years was enough to accumulate to a point of explosion. Of course, this was only a small explosion. The longer the time, the more powerful the human race would be, and the greater their potential would be. On the other side, the primordial realm's Chaos Sea. A 9-story pagoda was advancing at high speed. It was Jiangxi's true body that was controlling the heaven-connecting tower. In the past 1,000 years, He had been wandering all over the Chaos Sea in order to find the incomplete parts of the Tier 9 Supreme Treasure, the 7th mountain, through the connection between Supreme Treasures. Juntian Holy Land? Jiang Xi's eyes flashed with a bloody light. In that case, let's make a trip there. It just so happens that it's closer to the Myriad World's ruins. I can take the treasures of the green primordial race along the way. Chapter 646. Jiang Xi drove Sky Connecting Tower and spent half a month in Chaos Sea before finally arriving at Juntian Holy Land. This was also his first time getting close to Eternal Holy Land. Looking from afar, one could only see boundless primal chaos fog surging in the void like a surging ocean. And a behemoth was floating in the Chaos Sea. The size of Juntian Holy Land was second only to the 4 original universes. It was much larger than all the Celestial Venerate miniature universes he had seen before. If he had to give an exact number, the diameter of a Celestial Venerate miniature universe was at most 9 trillion light-years. And the diameter of Juntian Holy Land's universe was more than 50 trillion light-years. Let's check it out first. Jiang Xi immediately teleported over. Whoosh! 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 He teleported several times and crossed a distance. Finally, he arrived at a position 100 million light-years away from Juntian Holy Land. Huh! Jiang Xi instantly froze there as if he was frozen. Then he looked down at the armor on his body. This was an armor true treasure transformed from the 9th tier true treasure, 7 mountains. This armor, which had completely turned pure black, was trembling slightly. Vaguely, he could feel that it was a true treasure from the direction of Juntian Holy Land. It's sensing it. Jiang Xi quivered and his eyes lit up. He stared at the incomparably huge Holy Land in front of him. The last 2 mountains are in Juntian Holy Land. Jiang Xi's eyes burst with a bloody light, but he quickly suppressed it. His heart was full of desire. He really wanted to kill his way in. However, this was not realistic at all for him now. After receiving 8 Clouds' inheritance, although he could not see the information of the eternal state, he could vaguely guess that the 2 primordial realm supremes in Chaos Sea should not be able to leave the eternal universe. Otherwise, the 2 supremes would have surrounded him during the fight for 8 Clouds' inheritance instead of letting their celestial venerates and Tao Lords capture him. Therefore, if it was in Chaos Sea, as long as he did not meet an invincible celestial venerate, he was not afraid. However, it was hard to say inside the Holy Land. That was the territory of the supremes. With his current strength, only death awaited him if he challenged them. Fuck? Jiang Xi could not help but swear. How long has it been? If he counted the time he spent in seclusion in the 8 Cloud Pavilion, then he had not cursed for 1 billion years. However, at this moment, Jiang Xi couldn't help but curse. Why is he in the Great Sky Holy Land? In the entire Chaos Ocean, there are so many miniature universes. If they are in the miniature universes of Celestial Venerables, I might be able to get my hands on them. Even in the Red Lotus Holy Land I can think of a way. But why is it in the Great Heaven Holy Land? Jiang Xi was furious in his heart. The Juntian Holy Land and him were like fire and water. Since 1,000 years ago, they had been thinking of ways to exterminate the 4th universe's human race. The conflict between the 2 was absolutely irreconcilable. Moreover, he had also killed some Tao Lords of the Juntian Holy Land during the 1,000 years he had been traveling in the Chaos Sea. This conflict had deepened even further. Strange. Since the final 2 mountains are in the Great Sky Holy Land, why didn't they discover the connection between the 2 mountains in Mount Xianhuang? Jiang Xi frowned. On second thought, he understood. It's because the distance is too far. Just like when I obtained the 3 mountains from Master 9 Firmaments, I couldn't sense Mount Xianhuang either. It wasn't until I went to Gold Flow River and passed through the space whirlpool that I sensed it. And these 2 mountains of the Great Sky Holy Land might not have left the Holy Land universe in all these years. Then there are 2 possibilities now. One is that some weak fellows like Tribulation Transcenders and True Lords who aren't qualified to leave the Holy Land universe obtained it. The other is that it was placed in the treasure vault of some strong being as a useless item, Jiang Xi guessed. The grade of the incomplete two mountains was definitely not high. It was already not bad if it was a second-stage true treasure. As for the Tao Lords of the Holy Land universe, they naturally disdained to use a true treasure of this level. That was why the last two mountains had never appeared in the Chaos Sea. This is troublesome. With the conflict between the two sides, the Great Sky Holy Land definitely wouldn't give the final two mountains to him. In that case, there's only one way. Jiang Xi quickly made a decision. Capture someone. It was commonly known as kidnapping. Capture the strong beings of the Great Sky Holy Land and make a deal with them. Thinking of this, Jiang Xi turned around and teleported to another place. Originally, he came to the Great Sky Holy Land this time to block the strong beings of the Great Sky Holy Land who entered and left the Holy Land universe and then kill them. Now he couldn't wait any longer. This was because blocking people was a very time-consuming process. It would be good if he could block 1 or 2 in 10,000 years. That was far from enough. Therefore, he could only capture the strong beings of the Great Sky Holy Land who were roaming the Chaos Sea. At the same time, in a prosperous life star system inside the Great Sky Holy Land universe. You and I are fated. Are you willing to take me as your master? The voice of a 5th-ranked true lord with 6 arms rumbled in the sky above a planet. Below, an ordinary member of the Great Sky Holy Land was kneeling. He only had 2 arms and looked very similar to a human. The youth who was only at the Tao integration stage immediately revealed an excited expression. Yes, disciple is willing. Disciple greets master. However, he waited for a long time and didn't see this powerful existence reply. He gathered his courage and looked up, only to see this powerful existence in a daze. Master? Master? He called out twice in a row. The 6-armed man came back to his senses and smiled. Stay here for the time being. I'll come and pick you up in the future. After speaking, he teleported and disappeared. Only the youth was left kneeling on the ground with a dumbfounded expression. This powerful existence was playing with him? After the 6-armed man teleported to another starry sky, he stopped. He looked at the trembling gray armor on his body in shock. Could this be the reaction of a true treasure? My gray stone armor is actually incomplete. The 6-armed man was extremely excited. With the foundation of the Great Sky Holy Land, the information that a true lord knew about a true treasure naturally far surpassed the strong beings of the 4 primal universes. He was infamous. This made everyone understand that it was impossible to obtain the inheritance from Jiang Xi. Instead, they had to hide from Jiang Xi. All the Tao Lords of our race, listen up. Do not provoke Tao Lord Mountain Sea. If you see him from afar, avoid him immediately. Pass down the order. All the Tao Lords are not to provoke Jiang Xi. Thus Jiang Xi entered the abyss of space trap without any obstruction. Now, only those heavenly venerates dared to provoke him. As for heavenly venerates, they were usually in the depths of the abyss. As for Tao Lords? Now, all the major factions knew that even the top universe realm Tao Lords wouldn't be able to last more than 3 strikes from Tao Lord Mountain Sea. When they saw heaven-piercing tower go directly into the depths of the abyss, those Tao Lords heaved a sigh of relief. This was a malefic star. In the 2 wars of the 8 Cloud Ruins and the 4th universe, Tao Lord Mountain Sea alone killed more than 2,000 Tao Lords. They all thought that I would start a massacre. I'm not stupid. Jiang Xi stood in the treasure space of heaven-piercing tower and looked at the churning chaos fog outside. Although I can easily kill Tao Lords and am even better at it than many heavenly venerates, won't I be making enemies everywhere if I go on a killing spree? I'm not afraid of making enemies everywhere, but it will harm the human race and the races that rely on us. All the foreign race experts he had killed over the years had either attacked him of their own accord or had enmity with him, such as the Great Sky Sacred Ground. Apart from that, he would not take the initiative to kill other Tao Lords. Jiang Xi knew very well that if he massacred foreign race Tao Lords in Chaos Sea for no reason, the nature of the situation would be different. In that case, the heavenly venerates of the other races would also be able to hunt down the human race and the Tao Lords that relied on the human race. At that time, weaker experts like Tao Lord Miluo, Tao Lord Longwall, Tao Lord Qingyu, and the others would find it difficult to move around in Chaos Sea. Therefore, even if he could obtain eternal EXP, Riverward would not do such a foolish act of killing at will, much less do it. He was a human, not a beast. With my combat strength, I can easily capture the Tao Lords of the Great Sky Sacred Ground. Then let's begin. Then Zhang Xiai went all the way down. At the same time, he used his spirit sense to scan his surroundings to see if there were any experts from the Great Sky Sacred Ground. With the current strength of his essence spirit, he could scan an area of 30,000 light-years. A year later, in the depths of the Void Trap Abyss Dual Spiral Domain, whoosh! Two huge vortexes formed by the chaos fog were tearing everything apart. They tore apart the surrounding void and disturbed spacetime, making it impossible for people to teleport. This was a terrifying danger zone left behind after Mount Xianhuang disappeared. The core area of the two huge vortexes was enough to annihilate the top universe realm Tao Lords. At this moment, at the edge of the dual spiral domain, there was a huge stone celestial body floating in the air. The largest diameter of the stone celestial body was more than 1 billion kilometers, and there were 9 Tao Lords entrenched on it. All of them were staring at the core of the distant vortex. A supreme treasure was about to be born there. No one expected that the dual spiral domain formed by the disappearance of Mount Xianhuang would be a place where supreme treasures have a high probability of appearing. In other places, it's already not bad if one Tier 5 supreme treasure appears in an epoch. But here, in just a short 1,000 years, more than 10 Tier 3 supreme treasures, 6 Tier 4 supreme treasures, and even 1 Tier 5 supreme treasure have appeared. The Tao Lords were all waiting for the supreme treasure to appear with burning eyes. Suddenly, boom! In the distance, a stream of light was flying forward at high speed. The suction force of the dual spiral domain is extremely powerful. Who is it? Who dares to fly above the dual spiral domain? Aren't they worried about being swept down? It's Skirich Tower. A 9-story tower. It's Skirich Tower of Tao Lord Mountain Sea. No wonder he dares to charge in so directly. So it's a Tier 7 flying supreme treasure. If I had one, I would dare to charge into the depths of the dual spiral domain. On the stone celestial body, the 9 Tao Lords were all amazed. Skirich Tower is turning. It's flying towards us. Instantly, the 9 Tao Lords were all frantic. If Tao Lord Mountain Sea had no ill intentions towards them, why would he turn in their direction? Even if they wanted to flee now, it was already too late. They were already very close to the tower, and within the dual spiral domain, they didn't dare to teleport. Tao Lord Mountain Sea, we're willing to hand over this supreme treasure that's about to appear. They chose to back down. Skirich Tower gradually decelerated, hovering above the stone celestial body. Whoosh! A black armored figure flew out, staring downwards as he swept the 9 Tao Lords with his gaze. Don't worry about the other 8 Tao Lords. I came here for him. Zhang Xiai pointed downwards at one of the universe Tao Lords. Instantly, the other 8 Tao Lords on the stone celestial body turned to look, wanting to see which unlucky fellow it was. They saw a tall, muscular man with 8 arms. He first looked around, then looked up at Zhang Xiai, his face filled with terror. Chapter 647. Omi? The 8-armed man looked around. The other 8 Tao Lords all stood off to one side, intentionally moving a bit further away. Clearly, they were quite willing to see this 8-armed Tao Lord suffer a tragic fate. This was because this 8-armed man was the strongest among the 9 of them. Naturally, he had the highest chance of obtaining the supreme treasure that was about to appear. These alien Tao Lords could also see that Zhang Xiai didn't care about the supreme treasure that was about to appear in the dual whirlpool domain. He was completely targeting this 8-armed man. They weren't worried about their own safety because Zhang Xiai had roamed the Chaos Sea for so many years and had never wantonly killed anyone. In the past 1,000 years, many of his attacks were basically targeted at the Great Sky Sacred Land. Tao Lord Hong ran of the Great Sky Sacred Land. Zhang Xiai looked down at the 8-armed man. Tao Lord Mountain Sea, I've never met you before. We have no enmity. I've also never targeted the experts of the 4th universe's human race. May I know why you're looking for me? Tao Lord Hongran hurriedly said in fear and anxiety. Although he was a top universe Tao Lord and came from the eternal universe that didn't fear calamities, he naturally trembled in fear when he encountered someone who could easily kill him. In fact, he wanted to escape just now, but it was already too late when he saw the sky-piercing tower. No enmity? Your great sky sacred land has always targeted the human race. That's enmity. Jiang Xi sneered. The other 8 Tao Lords watched from the side and stayed away, afraid that they would be implicated. Tao Lord Mountain Sea, don't be unreasonable. Tao Lord Hongran said directly. If he wasn't in front of Jiang Xi, he would also be an extremely arrogant expert. Now he could only endure. Don't struggle. Jiang Xi's expression was cold. Come in. Then he berated. Instantly, a whirlpool appeared at the bottom of the sky-piercing tower. A powerful suction force instantly acted on Tao Lord Hongran below. No. Tao Lord Hongran roared and struggled with all his might. Tao Lord Mountain Sea, you're going to fight to the death with my great sky sacred land. Celestial Master Dark Ink of my Holy Land universe is in the abyss of pitch void right now. If you kill me, he'll definitely come for you. This roar caused the surrounding void to tremble. Tao Lord Hongran was already resisting with all his might. Celestial Venerable Dark Ink? I just happened to have a score to settle with him. Jiang Xi said coldly. Whoosh! Although Tao Lord Hongran tried his best to resist, he was still constantly being sucked into Heavenspan Tower. Then it was completely sucked in and disappeared. This caused the 8 spectating alien Tao Lords to tremble in fear. They were so quiet that they didn't dare to make a sound. Although they knew how powerful Jiang Xi was, they were still terrified when they saw it with their own eyes. Tao Lord Hongran, who had dominated the Chaos Sea for countless eons, had been devoured by Heavenspan Tower so easily? I thought there would be a great battle. This Jiang Xi is too crazy. He actually doesn't take Tao Lord Hongran seriously at all. Moreover, many experts of the Great Sky Sacred Land are in the abyss of pitch void. Especially that Celestial Master Dark Ink. He's the second Great Sky Venerable expert of the Great Sky Sacred Land. His strength is incomparably terrifying. There aren't many in the entire Chaos Sea who can defeat him. That's right. Isn't he worried that he'll be intercepted by the experts of the Great Sky Sacred Land if he attacks here? This abyss of pitch void isn't the vast Chaos Sea outside. He can escape at any time outside. Once he's blocked here, he'll probably be in danger. While they were discussing secretly via voice transmission, this third step Heavenly Venerable didn't have a miniature universe and only relied on a full set of 7th-step true treasures to maintain the combat power of a third step Heavenly Venerable. And Jiang Xi didn't lack true treasures the least. A 7th-step true treasure was like a piece of paper in front of him now. Jiang Xi was one of the key figures in the primordial realm's Chaos Sea. His every move was valued. He hadn't made a move since entering the abyss. Unexpectedly, he suddenly captured Tao Lord Hongran from the Great Sky Sacred Land and announced that he would wait for the arrival of the other experts of the Great Sky Sacred Land in the Dual Whirlpool region for 10 years. There are many experts of the Great Sky Sacred Land in the abyss. Be it in the depths or the outer region, they can all arrive in the Dual Whirlpool region within a year. Tao Lord Mountain and Sea gave a 10-year deadline. Obviously there's plenty of time. Tao Lord Mountain and Sea can be said to be the #1 madman in the Chaos Sea. Even the invincible Heavenly Venerable Purple Firmament didn't do such a crazy thing. He's the 8 Clouds inheritor. He's indeed different. The news spread rapidly. That day, in the depths of the abyss of Pitfall region, in a dangerous place called the Fantasy Spirit Zone. The Fantasy Spirit Zone was one of the most dangerous places after the formation of the abyss of Pitfall region. It was famous for its illusions. Even with a 7th-step primordial spirit true treasure, it would be difficult to escape once lost. Of course, the more dangerous a place was, the greater the opportunities. If one was lucky, they would be able to gain a lot here. Rumble. An ancient flying ship floated outside the Fantasy Spirit Zone. On the flying ship, there was a huge plant creature, a fog creature, and an 8-armed man. They were the 3 great experts of the Xianhuang Mountain, Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon, Heavenly Venerable Xia, and Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan. Qing Yan, that Tao Lord Mountain and Sea captured the experts of your great sky sacred land, and specially spread the news that he was waiting for your experts in the dual whirlpool region. He even gave you 10 years. He knew that you were in the abyss of Pitfall region, but he still dared to take the initiative to spread the news. It seems that he's here for you. If you don't go, I'm afraid you'll become the joke of the entire Chaos Sea. Heavenly Venerable Xia chuckled. Qing Yan, are you going? Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon also looked over. They all knew some of the past between Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan and Jiang Xi. Back then Jiang Xi had briefly appeared in the Xianhuang Mountain and killed a top universe realm Tao Lord of the Heavenly Feather Race. In the end, Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan attacked and almost died in the Xianhuang Mountain. That kid has many supreme treasures on him. Although he's only a Tao Lord, even I don't have the confidence to capture him, let alone kill him, Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon said. Many supreme treasures? Humph, my great sky sacred land doesn't lack supreme treasures. Since he dares to act so arrogantly this time, I'll capture him and force the 8 clouds' inheritance out of him. Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan sneered. He looked at Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon and Heavenly Venerable Xia. Are you going? No. I don't want to provoke the humans of the 4th universe. Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon and Heavenly Venerable Xia both shook their heads. What a joke. Apart from Jiang Xi, the humans of the 4th universe also had Heavenly Venerable Ming. The Great Sky Sacred Land wasn't afraid of Heavenly Venerable Ming, but they were worried that they would attract Heavenly Venerable Ming's killing intent. Then I'll be leaving. I'll be back soon after dealing with Jiang Xi. After saying that, Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan rode his Tier 7 flying treasure and quickly turned into a stream of light and left. The Fantasy Spirit Zone was the most dangerous place in the abyss of Pitfall region. The 3 of them believed that they might be able to find some traces of Xianhuang Mountain's disappearance here, and then use it to find Xianhuang Mountain. Therefore, the 3 of them were unwilling to give up on investigating this place. After Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan left, Heavenly Venerable Blood Moon and Heavenly Venerable Xia looked at each other, and then sent a message to the Tao Lords they were familiar with. If anyone is near the dual whirlpool domain, leave as soon as possible. If you can't leave in a short time, try to hide as much as possible. Don't run into that Tao Lord Mountain Sea. Dual whirlpool domain, on the giant stone celestial body. Skypiercer Tower stood in the center and waited silently, but there were already 11 Tao Lords around it. Clearly many experts had already known that the dual whirlpool domain was about to be born. When they found out that Jiang Xi was only targeting the experts of the Juntian Holy Land, coupled with the temptation of the treasure, 3 other Tao Lords still took the risk and rushed over. At this moment, Tao Lord Mountain Sea, you're too arrogant. How dare you provoke the Juntian Holy Land alone? A woman with 8 arms rushed over with a giant hammer and roared as she attacked Skypiercer Tower. This was another top-tier universe Tao Lord from the Juntian Holy Land. In fact, the Tao Lords of the 2 Holy Land universes were basically all at the universe Tao Lord level. Finally, another one. A cold laugh came from the 9-story tower billions of kilometers tall. Come! Boom! A powerful suction force swept toward the 8-armed woman. The 8-armed woman was stunned. After hearing the news, she immediately rushed over, and didn't know that Tao Lord Mountain Sea had attacked Tao Lord Hongran. Of course, this also had to do with the fact that the 8 Tao Lords deliberately concealed the news when they spread it. As a result, this 8-armed woman was taken into Skypiercer Tower without any warning. Another month passed. Tao Lord Mountain Sea, how dare you provoke the Juntian Holy Land? Die! Come! Come! Just like that, for half a year Jiang Xi used Skypiercer Tower to capture a total of 54 universe Tao Lords from the Juntian Holy Land. After that, no other Juntian Holy Land experts dared to challenge him. Moreover, the Juntian Holy Land had already given the order that apart from Heavenly Venerable Qing Yan, no one was allowed to attack. Now the anger of the entire Juntian Holy Land's upper echelons had almost gathered into an ocean, and was about to drown the entire Holy Land. However, they could only suppress their anger helplessly and wait for Heavenly Venerable Qing to take action and capture Tao Lord Mountain Sea. There was no other way. Because the Holy Land universe couldn't produce new heavenly venerables, the number of heavenly venerables in the Juntian Holy Land wasn't many, only 7. Moreover, none of them had miniature universes, and their actual combat strength was far inferior to a true heavenly venerable. Boom! In the depths of the pitfall abyss, a terrifying figure flashed and headed straight for the dual spiral domain. I'm finally here. Heavenly Venerable Qingyan was filled with endless anger for countless eras. Heavenly Venerable Qingyan had given the various forces in the chaos the impression of a friendly heavenly venerable. However, in reality, it was just that he disdained to interact too much with those powerhouses who couldn't become eternal, let alone start a conflict. However, it was different this time. Dao Lord Mountain Sea repeatedly provoked the Juntian Holy Land. This was a disgrace to the Juntian Holy Land that had stood tall in the Chaos Sea for a long time. It was absolutely unforgivable. Time passed day by day. Rumble. The whirlpool of the dual spiral domain became even more terrifying, tearing the surrounding void. On the other hand, the outermost giant stone celestial body was much calmer. The 11 alien Dao Lords on it were all waiting expectantly. I reckon that Heavenly Venerable Qingyan will arrive soon. That's right. Just wait. The Juntian Holy Land is counting on Heavenly Venerable Qingyan to defeat Dao Lord Mountain Sea. I'm really looking forward to it. I think Heavenly Venerable Qingyan will win this time. Last time outside the 8 Cloud Ruins, Dao Lord Mountain Sea escaped with the help of Heavenly Venerable Ming Ming. Now that he has no one to help him, he'll definitely lose. Just as they were chatting, a huge bolt of lightning suddenly appeared about 100 light-years away from the dual spiral domain. The terrifying bolt of lightning cut through the void and arrived above the giant stone celestial body in the blink of an eye. This scene made the group of relaxed Dao Lords immediately excited. A great battle was about to break out. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.